Should get into
Maybe
some
Trey's giving you some
Zumba.
advice.
I think you'd be good at salsa, actually.
Salsa, yeah.
Why don't you guys salsa dance together? I don't fucking know. Take a class.
Salsa.
Awesome.
Oh, dancing. I thought you meant like salsa, like.
Hey, Gabs.
No, no.
Hey.
Salsa I do is with chips.
I was thinking, man, these guys, this is close-knit community. These guys are salsaing together, bro. Like, damn.
Double dipping.
Oh my god.
That's right. So Trey, what are we talking about?
This
You said that you were gonna-
of marijuana.
We already talked about that on our podcast.
Yeah.
No, I had some ideas, and then we can kind of go random. There's 6 of us. I literally knew. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't respond to your I literally ignored your phone call because I had to finish an order right before the class so that I could get here. So
You're a drunk man right now, aren't you?
no, only one beer in. So
Okay.
Have you got one beer in, bro?
oh yeah.
Bro, it's 7 o'clock in the morning here, bro. I could join you with a wine.
I like that.
Well, Trey, do you
We'd be
have
on
more
the same
wine?
level.
I want more wine.
I could go
Just
downstairs
kidding.
and get some.
Oh, let's make it a Monday official. I'll be back.
Yeah.
I like it.
Awesome.
Okay, drunk Cosmos community. Let's go.
Eventually, we'll
Count
have
me in.
one. We'll have one where everyone gets hammered, or we'll have like a drinking game where every time someone says something,
Every
everyone
time someone
drinks.
says like consciousness or starseed or something like that.
Spiritual.
Anytime
Spiritual,
anybody
yeah.
says any of the signs.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that would be hard. I'm from the east coast of Canada. I know all about drinking games. That's all we do here. Drink and smoke pot.
Yeah,
Hey, are you from the
So-
south? Do you say or north?
What? East coast.
North
Oh, east coast.
Yeah.
New York area, Trey.
I'm in-
Trey doesn't know America. So guys,
which state? Sorry, or whatever they're called, county.
What? Oh, I
What
live
are
in Nova
places called in
Scotia.
Canada?
Yeah, provinces.
Provinces.
Oh yeah, provinces.
Yeah, I'm in Nova Scotia.
Okay, cool.
I love Nova Scotia. I
beautiful.
want to go hunt for buried treasure there.
Yes, you must be watching the Oak Island.
Oh yeah, I've seen all the Oak Island episodes, and I've also dug into it myself. Like,
Nice.
just kind of off of the myths and stuff, the stories that other people were talking about, like shipwreck wise. I would love to go dive over there to try to find.
Nice. You probably know more about it than I do, honestly. Like, I know it's a show. I know we've got like treasure and a bunch of like pirate history and a lot of like naval history and stuff here, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just like, yeah, these are pretty places. Like, but yeah, Oak
Well-
Island's probably like an hour and a half from me. So
That's so cool. I mean, if you think about it, like, I don't know if you ever watched that show, The Vikings, but like the last season, they
Vikings.
talk about how they made it to America and that there were Indians there, and they have like a whole like meetup or whatever between the Vikings and the Native American Indians that were living there at the time. And I just think it's very cool that anybody that was coming from that side of the continents, you know, probably would have ran into Nova Scotia first because it is like the tip, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at
Yep.
geography. And so it's very science-based. A lot of that stuff that they do on Oak Island is because, you know, currents, and they do all kinds of, you know, ground penetrating radars and
Yeah.
whatnot. There's like all kinds of weird shafts that have been dug up underneath, and like, it's crazy. I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
It definitely looks like somebody's trying to hide something, you know,
Mhm.
and there's so much like myth around it that I would just love to go
Oh,
explore.
I wouldn't be
Cowboys
surprised.
and Indians
Right.
get out there.
I would not be surprised. We also have like a graveyard with a bunch of people from the Titanic buried there too.
Yeah, that's
It's like a
wild.
huge graveyard. It's like right across the bridge from me, probably like 5-minute drive.
Is it ice cold?
Well, it depends. What?
Is it ice cold? Everyone froze to death there.
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, if you're in the middle of the ocean, you're probably going to freeze anyway, regardless of what ocean or where.
Yeah.
If
Besides
I've
the
Hey,
ocean, it'd be
everyone, let's
mine.
raise a fake glass to the 7 in the morning wine. Skål!
Yeah, yeah. I'm just,
Here's some water.
I'm winding up.
Yeah. I don't drink alcohol, but I'll drink to my caffeine that I drink too much of.
Woo! Monster.
Whoa,
Yeah.
it's party.
A party. I'm gonna drink 3.
Monster.
I've got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How far back do you remember? Like because I've been like meditating for a while, I see like life as like a scratchy, like this universe is like a, you know, like a scratchy you buy.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like you already know, but you have to go through lessons to like scratch off a lesson, and then
Like
when you get enough
archaeology.
lessons, then yeah, and then when you scratch off enough lessons, you start piecing together like your story, or actually more important than your story is like an our story thing. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like wondering like how far do you guys remember back? Or has anything come up for you or in past lives, or is any like
Mhm.
Who wants to go first?
I could start a little. I mean, I've remembered quite a few lives on Earth. Like I have vivid memories of like initiations in Egypt, like drinking Blue Lotus. Like the first time I drank Blue Lotus, I had this vision bleed through of me sitting in ceremony with it in Egypt, and it was mixed with something else to make it more psychoactive. And I remember the people carrying me off and putting me into a sarcophagus where I kind of had this huge like cosmic experience. But I think that the biggest anchor that I'm bringing down into this world, body, and reality is kind of my connection to Sirius and past lives in Sirius. And I don't even know, I think for some reason, I feel like part of me is existing there right now. And that
like that.
is like it's existing there right now, and but then another part of me has come down into the 3D material world to kind of experience the lessons and karma that's going on here. And but yeah, the more I dive into spirituality, the more I move away from all the ancient teachings kind of and move towards this like very star serious cosmic teachings. I mean, I could go on forever about past lives. I even remember something from when I was like a toddler. I mean, not a toddler, when I was like crawling in this life. So like, I remember what it was like to be that young where I couldn't even stand up. Yeah, there's so much to go into. I could talk for hours, but I'm gonna put it.
Oh. Well, I was gonna propose. I mean, I'm down to talk about this. Like the ideas I came up with for like themes to talk about, obviously was one thing about like shadow work. I'll just read you guys what I have, and we can all decide, because it doesn't really matter to me. I'm down for whatever. So the one I thought about like right before this was about dreams and ambitions, and kind of just like, you know, speaking about what you want to do, you know, like ambitions in your life, like goals, everything, really, not like in a weird kind of Western society way, but you know, not necessarily like career or whatever. I want to make money, just like how you see yourself, kind of related to your North Node, like what the North Node and everything in your astrology says, and like if you think what you're doing right now is complementary to that, and just basically your reflections on that. That was the idea I had right before class, and usually when I have those ideas, they're pretty good. The one I had last week was about shadow, and I said, okay, next Cosmos, we're going to look at toxic tendencies we all have. This is something that's come up a lot in different meetings, and we all have them. To be able to look at this from a pure healing standpoint, but also link it to astrology could end up being profound for many of us. And I talked about like, you know, maybe like one person explaining overcoming one thing that someone else in the group might be going through could be helpful. So yeah, for me personally, I really like the dreams one, and also the past life one. We could touch on all three, but I'm curious, you know, which if there's any of those that stand out for any of you guys.
Yeah.
I
They're
like
all
all
cool.
of those. I can't
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know.
I'm with you.
I think the dreams one is interesting because it's like the shadow. We've talked about the shadow one, the shadow stuff a good amount, or not like we haven't like completely pinned that down. But the ambitions and future oriented stuff is like very. I don't know. I feel like we haven't really. I feel like that could be really good. I don't know. It came to me right before the class when I was like, I usually get at least one, if you want to call it download or intuition, like something that comes to me where I'm just like, that's it. You know, I know exactly what we're gonna like, what the theme is gonna be. I got that. I didn't get that all week or all 2 weeks since last time, and then it came to me 10 minutes before. So I don't know. We could try that, and then move to past lives or shadow. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Start with
Huh.
dreams, you mean?
Yeah, not like dreams, like, but just like kind of like, okay, I could like my version of it would be just like ambitions and like what you
Your
like where
ambition.
you see yourself
Okay.
and yeah, more of that than like actual dreams. And okay, I'll start. I'll kind of share like based on that, and then we can kind of go whatever direction we want to go. But I'll just give you guys an example. So for me, you know, and also it's like about like kind of like seeing like are you where you want to be right now? If not, you know, where do you want to be? So yeah, and we obviously like we don't fully really know. There's lots of mystery in life. So one thing when I look at like the future and my career or whatever, I understand that like the person I'm gonna be in 5 years is such a different person than I am now, and we're always changing. So there's new challenges that come for different times. But when it reflects, when I really get deep with things, because you know I don't have like the traditional career, like I like different people in my family getting jobs and stuff, and you know, taking more traditional paths. And I don't think, you know, I think I'm 31 and more time will pass, and I'm never going to be someone that's like following a traditional path. But according to the astrology, you know, I'm really here to be doing things like this, like, you know, like connecting people. But I really think like giving back is going to be something really big for me. I think I'm going to be in a position, a pretty like unique position to give back in a very unique type of way that I can't even figure out yet. So I think it's like going to be a lot about, yeah, kind of like not necessarily charity, but yeah, being a service to humanity in some way, while also like doing something creative that I don't think I've even started. Like I think I'll be an astrologer, but I don't necessarily think I've really started what's gonna like really be my real reason I'm here, which I think will be like a lot bigger than astrology for me. I think it will be like, yeah, something new, something like a mix of like think travel vlogging, but not travel vlogging, like a future more Jesse, my own version of that. But we'll see. I really have no idea. But I know like when I go back to saying I have no idea, I look at the astrology and I'm like, okay, but I do know that like it's Aquarius 6th house. It's about, you know, being structured in some degree and being selfless, and also just being my own person and helping the world move forward. And yeah, so that's kind of
Nice.
my take. Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, that sounds.
Oh, and I forgot to say one thing that I wanted to add about like where I think I'm at right now with it. That was like the other part of it. Right now, I don't know. It's with COVID and everything. It's kind of like tough to travel and to, you know, really. I do feel like I'm in kind of like a karmic waiting room almost, where I finished like one kind of preparatory phase. I think with like even if I don't get my normal account back, which I think I will, I still think that me losing it is like, you know, that was kind of like almost just like a little mini preamble. I think I'm like finishing school right now, chilling, living here, but I think there's gonna be something really big that comes up for me. And I think that was just kind of like a mini preparation, because I definitely think I'm gonna be like I'm ready to like give everything to be, I don't want to say like a big public figure because that sounds egotistical, but I'm willing to choose a life of like not having a family and being my own, being like really putting everything into my career. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. So I think something's gonna come soon. Yeah.
Well, I think what would be cool would be also for, because we're a small group, would everyone to kind of like, if they want to jump in and offer an intuitive like take on what our read
Yes.
of Jesse's energy is, and like where we kind of see what we see for him too.
Yeah.
And like kind of have that for each person, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
totally. Yeah, just like
I
it's
mean,
so close knit.
well, first off, bro, like you don't have to like think about like what you're gonna do or anything like that, right? Because look at right now, bro. You've brought a whole bunch of people together. Do you know what I mean? This is already a great thing. Like this is, you look at all the humans that have ever lived on our planet, right? This is something special because it's never really happened before. Like in any timeline, not even possible
Yeah.
without technology, without the information, without being open to express, to choose who you are, all these other things. So you've already done like a great thing for all of us and whoever else is involved, you know. So don't cut yourself off too short, and don't think you're not doing great stuff, because if you never did this, then we wouldn't be able to do this. Do you know what I mean? So you're already doing
Totally.
great
Yeah,
things. bro.
I appreciate it. And I think a level of my karma too with my astrology is that like it's like I need to always be humbled, because like I can do really great things, but because I have so much Leo Aquarius energy, I can like rise really like I can just like get, it's not like I think I'm like I get to a place where I'm like thinking I'm better than other people, but it's like I just leave my body and get really, really, really high. I don't know how to explain it. And I think part of my karma is also to like be pushed to be more grounded, to be like, humility is a huge thing I've learned, gotten better with. So I think I always have to be like, you know, going more away from the Leo South node, which I can't delete the Leo part from me. So that's like, I think maybe I try to like, when I communicate, be more like super humble. Cause I think it's like a skill I've been working on for a while. I want to come off
Yeah.
that way, even though I am more and more humble, but like I used to not be. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah. So I definitely don't think like low of myself, and I do, like when I look at like the things I've done, I'm happy. I'm just curious to see like what's going to come next, and I think there'll be a lot of like faded shit that happens. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, bro. I actually do the opposite to what you said, right? About low, like, because what I've done over like the last 4 years is I see life as like this life as a canvas, right? So everything that your sensories have taken in from birth, like your conscious never sleeps, right? And everything you're taking in goes every second goes onto this canvas. So I've had to like pull everything off the canvas because you can't paint over it because the energy's still there, right? And it's been super simplified for me. And the way I did get over, because I'm very passionate, right, about harmony. That's like my cause, right? Harmony is my cause. But trying to like relay that to people over last, I guess, few years hasn't been like quite successful, because it sounded like I was talking down to people. So the way I had to train my mind through the process of humility, because humility is being the lowest, right? That's what humility is. And I've had to, instead of like using the numbers, I just see myself as like the lowest number, which is 0, right? In my harmony, like boom, nothing over there. So anything above that, right? They want to talk down to me, they want to highlight things, that's cool. Like I'm the lowest, like you can't push me any lower, because
Yeah.
I can't go any lower, right? First off,
Yeah.
you look like an asshole, and I'm happy where I am. Like,
That's your problem. You don't like where I'm at. You know, like,
yeah. And I'll tell people, like, dude, I'm lower than you, bro. Like, what are you on about, bro? Like, why are you acting like this?
It's a good strategy.
Yeah, well, it's just the way that I like
That's
train
funny.
myself, bro. Like, just to not be affected, like emotionally and by what people say and do and stuff. And I think the hardest lesson in either shadow work or humility or whatever is restraint. It's the hardest thing to practice. Restraint. It is
yeah.
the toughest lesson to master for any being. Restraint.
Facts.
Like restraint in the sense of like, you know, someone's trying to get a reaction out of you and to not bite back.
Anything, bro.
Is that what you mean?
Anything. Apply that template like
Yeah.
to your life, bro. Whether it be like drugs, porn, alcohol, going out, anything, like anything, just
It's
anything,
trying
full
to-
restraint. I had to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
do restraint over the whole board, right? Because my message is course, right? Like I'm gonna be doing some stuff soon, and for me to be there, I have to practice restraint because I have a commodity and an understanding of something that everyone needs, right? So people are going to want to make connections with me, but they can't. They can't make connections with me, right? I've made a connection with me. So if I'm making connection with someone else, that means I can't have my connection with me because I'm a dude. I can only do one thing at a time. Do you know what I mean? And not all
Oh,
dudes,
yeah.
but it's just
Well-
like I think I was saying about my like human design thing. Yeah, can I do like one thing at a time, but restraint, right? Attention and all these things. I can't be eclipsed being a Scorpio. It's real easy to get eclipsed by the shiny stuff. Super easy.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, Jesse, I was gonna say, like, I see, like, in your whole, like, for as much as I've known you, I haven't known you for like, eons or anything that I know of, but I don't know, maybe we do. But
Maybe, yeah.
I
Who
feel
knows?
like that the whole split with Missy has opened up a whole block of time with you. And that was like part of it. And then the blocking of your account was part of it. Of,
Yeah.
like these slowly but surely like changes that are like removing certain things so that there's more space to fill with other things. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
slowly but surely, I feel
Mm.
like you're gonna get there over the course of however long it takes. I mean, isn't your time
Totally.
lord about to change? Remember?
Jupiter, yes. And like, exactly, like even with the Missy thing, like that's a perfect example of like, I could have easily just not cared because, she like it would have saved me a lot of drama. But like it's about like, and everyone here knows that it was fucked up what she did, not to bring it back, but like that's another big thing for me is like in career and in life, I don't even want to separate who I do business with, business being like working with, and who's my friends.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to be the kind of person, like I would rather work with someone who, like if I would not want to work with someone who's like a mega like genius, super smart if I can't trust them. And
Yeah.
exactly, like that. It's a good thing to bring that up because like that's a perfect example of someone. I'm not gonna like destroy Missy here, but I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
who-
get you upset or
Yeah.
anything or triggered by it all.
No,
I
no.
just was
It's
saying,
it's
like,
not it's not a
seeing
triggering
these
thing. It's
things
just like
happening.
yeah, it's just like it's a decision that like these are the types of decisions that like are tough, but I think of them more from a karmic perspective. Like I think of myself when I'm in a tough decision, I think of myself as me in a different body in a different lifetime in a very similar situation. And I think, okay, this has happened before. Last time you didn't do it correctly. What's the right thing to do? That's kind of like something that like goes through my head when I'm in tough situations with that or with anything, with anything
Yeah.
where the desire to follow ego might feel better short term than what's right to do,
Yeah.
I just piggybacking on what Kendra said, Jesse. I think what I really respect in you a lot is your honesty, and I think that's why so many people gravitate towards you in what you say, because you're able to be just very down to earth and honest. And I think that's very I don't know, it's an authenticity that I think probably is very refreshing, because not everybody's like that. You know what I mean? Like not everybody's willing to just get it's in a way when Kendra was talking through things and when we've talked through some things, and I feel like when you process your challenge and you're communicating with others, it's in like this very high vibe Scorpio way. It's like somebody I want to be in the room when shit hits the fan, because I know they've got me. Like that, this is the kind of, it is trust, right? That like, you're going to be like, well, this is whatever but I feel like and I've been processing this more recently, the high vibe of Scorpio is somebody that you can talk to in a way, and they're just going to be really real with you, but it's because they care, and I find in you, there's a lot of like it's like a lot of great bravery, like really that, and I think for you that's important to who you are and your ideals, and it comes across very, very well. Whatever you do, I do feel like, I mean, you have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of wisdom, but what attracts people to you is this sense of just keeping it real. You know what I mean? It's just so refreshing, and it's so
Yes. And
like it's a
that
friend I
whole-
want to have. You know, like it's a friend I want to have. I want somebody
Yeah.
who's not going to just be like it's all rainbows and unicorns. I mean, but nothing against rainbows and unicorns. You know what I mean? Like life can be
Yeah.
kind of hard. So it's
Yeah.
nice that somebody has that perspective of life can be shitty and tough, and let's just be honest. Maybe it's the honesty piece, you know. And it's not a, and you're always good at
Appreciate
like, I think what I like about you when you talk to is you're always good at kind of giving a little disclaimer. It's not like you're, you know, kind of just going after it, but you're not kind of saying, well, this is, you're always good at like explaining why you say what you do, which is really nice too. Like you help people to see like, this is where I'm coming from, but this is why. But maybe I'm wrong, but this is, you know, it's just, it's very refreshing. Anyway, my 2 cents. Yeah.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I
it.
feel like
Thanks,
that
Ben.
is
That's
part of
very
what I was
nice.
saying too. Like
Thanks so
that
much.
creates that loyalty, like that Leo loyalty, because people are like, oh, he's gonna be real with me. He's not BSing me, you know? And so, and that's that kind of
Yeah.
energy you were talking about. Like you want someone that you know you can trust and that's loyal, you know, in business or relationships, friends, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter, like in life, you know? And so that's what you're putting out. That's the kind of people you're getting back, are the people that want that, you know, like that
Exactly.
realness.
And that's like what like what I've really been learning and focusing on lately is that like it's not about numbers, it's about quality. And like I definitely see myself like as a good leader, but like I'm definitely someone that like will do things like a shit ton for other people too that I care about. And yeah, I really appreciate those words, Dave. That was really, really, I felt that. And it's like it's like down the line, I think I mean my part of fortune's on the midheaven. It's in Taurus, so it's like linked the my midheaven's ruled by my Venus conjunct my North Node. So it's like like, you know, and every psychic has said it, you're gonna be like a public figure, you
Yeah.
know. I don't really care like about the word famous, but I've known it my whole life that I'm gonna be someone that people know.
Mhm.
And it just feels so natural for me to like I would rather be in front of a camera than not. And I absolutely love it. But like I think like psychically it's like yeah, I think that like these years here, like all these little things are kind of gearing me up and preparing me for whatever the fuck is coming. And exactly, Dave, to your point, like being honest, like being willing to say to people on social media, like, hey, like I feel like fucking shit. Like I used like this, you know, drug because I fucking felt that, or I fucking, you know, like did this or that, or like I've like being human, I think is important. I feel like a lot of people who have followings are afraid of being like that sometimes, and it just come off cheesy. And I see them, I'm like, man, I just want to keep it real, like
Yeah.
really real all the time.
You can smell the
So
untrue.
we'll see what happens.
But yeah, one of the things
Yeah.
that I find really cool with you is like when we have is the spark of creativity that gets triggered when you're with other people. And that's why I think maybe there's this like stagnant, like, you know, you feel like you're in a waiting room, right? You know, because you don't have the people around you. But what I always see it for you is like huge, way more creative projects coming out, like a lot more creative things. If that's going to be like, you know, producing music by directing it, or working with someone, or movies or documentaries, or
Music.
you know, little things like other things like that. It's like, because when you come together with people, it's like you got that fire, you got that spark to kind of, and the ideas flow and the creativity flows, and it's like, and then you bounce ideas off one another, and it's like that's kind of how it all comes and works together. And so I think, yeah, dude, this is just this is a hard time for all of us, and we're all isolated, but it's like when we all start coming back together in the collaboration and come back in, I see it's just so much creativity. And like, it's not just astrology, it's not just like readings and help, but it's helping people through creativity.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and when you said that, it made me realize like this is probably like like a really tough, like probably this is a tough time for me, you know, and I deal with it. We all deal with things in a different way. I have some of the worst transits I've ever had in my life right now, maybe ever, with like exact like this like day with the exact square of Neptune on my moon, and then Saturn's exactly on my Venus. So it's tough, but yeah, that it's tough for me to have the perspective I usually do, but that really helps. And I don't want this to be like I'm totally chilling, but yeah, when I say the waiting room, I always think of like in Star Wars when Luke Skywalker goes into Yoda's little fucking place, and like, you know, it's like before he kind of like becomes great, but he has to kind of train in the abyss, that whole archetype.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I feel like I am right now. Like I feel like I don't really see, but I'm cool with it because I've erased the expectation of needing to be this big fucking person. I'm totally fine if like I'm just like, you know, whatever. I'm letting God decide, you know, what I'm meant to do, kind of. I don't have to have expectations, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah.
we're all exactly where we're supposed to be, you know. So
Yeah, I
all
do believe
happen
that.
exactly how it's supposed to.
And it's
Yeah.
great to see it even in the Dagobah swamp, like trying to figure it out, because we're all trying to figure it out too. So it's nice to have some fellow travelers on the journey that are figuring it. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep going back to our wounds are great ways to teach other people. And if we didn't have those, we wouldn't be as relatable. And so it kind of allows us that access to, you know, to teach, right? Otherwise we would be like up there kind of on a pedestal, and people will be like, well, he needs to be saying some really pretty stuff, but I don't know if he can relate to me. You know, like, so
Suppose without stories, how can you share the experience, eh?
that's right.
I wish
Yeah.
there was a series for Star Wars where it was just like the deep training, like the deep Jedi training without any of the fighting and the war, you know, just like solely focused on like the deep meditation and learning how to use the Force.
Or isn't
That'd be
it?
so
I
much.
swear there's a religion. I swear there's a religion,
awesome.
like a Jedi religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Yeah, where this guy teaches like Jedi powers. I
Yeah,
mean,
bro.
I bumped into a woman
Want to meet
who
him?
had studied. I bumped into a woman in Costa Rica who had studied with him, and she's like, "Yeah, he taught me some pretty cool things. I only stayed with him for a couple months, but he taught me how to move the wind." And I was like, "Can you show me?"
Oh.
And she's like, "Yeah, sure." She gets up, and it's like a really hot, sticky day in Costa Rica, and there's no wind at all. It's just like so hot. We're in the shade. And she just goes up to this ylang ylang tree, which is this beautiful flower tree. And she starts doing this with her hands and then starts going zzz, and this beautiful breeze comes through and starts flittering with the flowers. And then she's like swooping her arms like this, like in these huge grand gestures. And the tree is going wild and literally flowers are flying off. And then she's like, stop. And everything, it was like instantaneously the wind stopped and everything like settled down. And me and my friend just looked at each other and it was like, what the fuck just happened? Like we were, did that just really happen? Like, and then our minds kicked in, like trying to disprove what just happened. but yeah.
That lady's got the Force.
Yeah.
That's of course.
It's so cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, she's
And
a
I
trippy
also
lady.
would like to say about like all of this conversation we're having about everybody is that the whole Saturn Pluto thing, we can't forget that that has brought on the COVID and the changes that everybody's had to go through with all of that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that on top of everybody else's just normal jam has caused people to become more introspective, has, you know what I mean? Like not everybody, obviously, but I feel like the more you isolate, you can become more introspective. And maybe your Pisces influence, Jesse, it's like too much alone time or too much introspection. You know what I mean? And so maybe that could lead to that feeling of always waiting for something else. You know what I mean? That whole like waiting room type thing.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of it is physical, and like when I talked to Jacqueline, my psychic, she like reflected this. because like if you think about it, I'm in school. It's COVID, right? My Saturn return's done, but I have like tons of Saturn transits because I have so many planets in Aquarius. So it's like I have back-to-back Saturn returns,
Mhm.
right? I'm in school. My school finishes this like in June or July or something like that. So like I'm still in my last semester of school. So like it's like I have too much stuff to do, where I can't like go, you know, and say, oh, I want to go a week here or whatever. I'm getting my license now too. So it's like I see more of it as like I have to like just get really Saturn-y, finish my school, finish my dissertation, do all these little things. And I feel like that's gonna like open up the next. It's like a karmic key, me graduating. Even though like I'm probably not. I don't think I'm gonna use this master's that much. Maybe I will, but like it's really like I think something big is gonna come after, and I'm gonna fill that time with something else. But I think I'm just starting to do like a lot of little things. Even this like financial stuff I'm doing is starting to move a little bit too. So
Yeah.
just kind of like the bottom foundations, and we'll see where it goes. Me and Trey's pod is awesome also.
Yeah. I'm waiting for an invite. I'd like to blow some people's brains up.
Yeah, we'll have you on, mate.
That's
The first Kiwi.
Yeah, bro. The first flying Kiwi.
Breakfast with a Kiwi.
Yeah.
So me and Trey will have to talk with like our shitty Australian accents the whole fucking time. Trey, yours is good. Try it. Come on, don't be shy. Do your Australian accent.
On the spot.
Lena.
Bro, I'll give you an Australian hack, right? For Australia. I'll give you an Australian hack, right?
Yeah, okay.
Do this. Block your
I'll
nose.
just do this. Yeah, just block your nose and then
just do
fucking
this,
go down
mate.
to the. Yeah, mate. Yeah. How you fucking doing over there?
Oh, good. Pretty good, cat. How you doing?
Yeah, can't. It's fucking wild over here, mate. Haven't fucking seen the sun for 10 days. Fucking popping pills and you know, 2 days ago I fucking spent 12 hours in my fucking closet. 12 hours. I was seeing stars everywhere, mate. Fucking stars everywhere.
Fucking mad, cat.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
You're an underrated
Little
actor,
deviation.
Trey. You're an underrated actor. That's why I think when you go to India, you're gonna become a famous actor, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, you can
So,
start
congrats.
Jollywood.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the
I'll
white,
cast you.
the only white star in India is gonna be Traharan.
Which are you?
Awesome.
You're Scorpio rising, right, Trey?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have Leo on the MC, and that's the sign of the actor. You know.
Yeah, in sidereal, I'm Libra rising and Leo moon. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
some parallels there. I don't know.
So yeah, in India you're a Leo.
Yeah.
In India, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that interesting, guys? That like when I got my Vedic reading, like in Indian Vedic astrology, like you know how I'm a Pisces, you're a Leo, you're a Virgo, whatever. In Vedic astrology, you are your moon sign. Like that's the most important. Sun is probably third. You know, Lanya the ascendant, but like so I'm a Scorpio. So whatever your moon sign is in Western, and minus it by like is it 23 and a half or 23 and a half degrees?
Yeah. I think it's
23 degrees.
Mhm.
And that's what you are.
Yeah, I'm super
kinda funny,
watery. Like I'm like all Cancer and Scorpio. It puts me in like a lot of water, which is very different from my Western chart, which is a lot of fire. So yeah.
I'm just boiling.
Yeah.
I'm boiling pot.
Yep. I am.
Boiling crab.
Burn people.
Crab on the boil.
Yeah, I'm wondering if anyone has any funny reactions to their Vedic versus their Western.
I don't even know what my
It's
Vedic
funny
is.
sometimes. Just what's your moon in Western? Aquarius?
Sag.
Yeah.
Sag.
Yeah, you're a
and-
Scorpio.
So you're probably like me, a Jeshta. But let's see, what do you know what degree your Sag moon is?
8,
I can look at this. Yes, you might not be
I
Jeshta.
think. Am I 8?
Yeah, you're the same as me. We both have 8-degree moons.
I think we're 1 degree apart, so I might be 7.
Oh, or I may be 9. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm looking at everybody else's charts way more than my own nowadays.
Yeah, I feel ya.
Gabby, you're 9 degrees
Okay,
Sag,
you're
so
9,
you would
I'm 8.
be.
Okay.
But in Vedic, it's not like just zodiac signs. So Scorpio, for example, it's in nakshatras. So they're like broken up into like 32, right?
Mhm.
So instead of 12 signs,
Yeah.
it's 32, I think, nakshatras. So I think there's 2.5. Yeah,
Or wait, I thought there was 3.
30,
Yeah.
30. Because there's 3.5, there's 3.5 in each, or 2.5 nakshatras in each sign, I think. Yeah. So I can look for people if you guys want to tell me, if you're interested, tell me your moon in Western, I can search it up. Yeah. Anyways, carry on. I'm just looking up Gabby's. But Trey, you're saying something?
Was I?
No. Okay.
You were saying something? What was that? What a legend.
Was I thinking too loud?
Okay, so Gabby, you're not Jeshta like me. You're right on the border. You're Anuradha.
Baby.
So yeah. Scorpio, yeah, it's broken up into Swati, Vishaka, and never mind. Okay, yeah. Basically, it's like 2.5. Yeah, it's two and a half. Yeah, so you're a Vishaka. Say it, Trey.
Vishaka. Is there
So
any
you're
dash over
Anuradha.
any of the A's?
No, not on Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Studied
Anyways.
Sanskrit for 4 months. And then I forgot
Yes, you
everything.
did.
I forgot everything 2 weeks later. I was like in an Indian restaurant and I looked up and there was Sanskrit written on the walls and I forgot the entire alphabet. I was like, what the fuck? Come on. Damn it.
God damn it.
Reinforce the programming.
Wow. I just
Seven languages.
looked mine up. I've got Libra 4 times, Saggy 4 times, and
What's your moon though?
Moon is Sagittarius, 16 degrees.
In Western.
Oh
Yes.
no. In Vedic. Can you see it?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your Vedic calculations?
Yeah.
Okay. So 16. Shit, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. 16. You're, no. Indian.
So buzzing.
Wait, what's your moon in Western? What's your moon in Western?
Capricorn.
And around what degree? 7 degrees around?
Well, if
Or like
just
20,
minus
it's
20, add 23 to 18.
Okay, so he's at the start.
Well, I'll tell you.
That's
that.
so you're
it's
Moolah.
11, right? 11 Capricorn.
23 plus 13? Is that what you said?
18, I thought.
Work.
Purva Ashada. Anyways. Anyone else with like the kind of career question?
I'm gonna be going through some changes. I'm gonna be working less with my sister and all of them, so I'm gonna be doing more astrology stuff, and so that's gonna be super exciting because this is what I want to do forever. And I've gone through multiple different transits that have shown me different parts of myself. I've done years of the shadow work. I feel like I have gotten to the point where I'm finally there as far as like I can devote time and service to other people. Like I've worked on myself, and I'm not saying like I'm perfect, like I have no work to do, because like every day I'm constantly, like I said, reinforcing the programming of keeping myself, you know, in a good place and things like that. But I definitely am going to be able to put more time towards my metaphysical studies and working and collaborating and doing things like that. So I feel like it's a part of me was like kind of upset over it, just because I've worked with both my sisters for like 5 years now, and I was in a different place 5 years ago. That gave me chills when you said that, Jesse, when you were like, oh, 5 years ago I was different than 5 years from now. And I feel like it's so true. Like time changes us every single day. We just can't notice it because it's such small changes, but over a bigger, you know, period of time, you can see how we weren't ready for certain things. I was ready with the knowledge, but I wasn't ready in accepting other aspects of doing this full time and being able to devote all that kind of purpose towards stuff, because I was dealing with my ex-husband and my children and trying to get a stable, you know, environment for all of us. And that was a long journey in itself. And we finally have all three of us are in a place where I can devote more time to this as well, you know. So it's just, they're older, they're not like little bitties that are running around like climbing up things, and you know, they're teenagers now, so they just want to be on their phones. They're not really doing much than that. So yeah, I feel like my whole thing is like to bring something to the table. Like I really feel like what you said, Jesse, is something that I feel too. I want to be a service to others. I feel like that the information that I have, everybody should have. And I also feel like it's something that's priceless. Like that's why I struggled for so long about charging for readings or anything like that, because I feel like it's a priceless thing that everybody needs for spiritual growth, for understanding their own, you know, behaviors and their own traumas. And it just helps people walk themselves through, you know, getting into the spiritual domain and whatnot, getting back to the self and kind of growing from inside the self outward. So that's really where I'm at. I'm excited to start, you know, a new venture and like be, you know, progressive in that way. And so yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, really quickly, one thing about just a little bit unrelated, but I'll comment on you after. But the thing with charging, you know, I'm sure you learned this. It's so important because that's what gives astrology legitimacy. You know, because I totally understand what you're saying. Because it's like you want to just do it for everyone. You want to just be able to like put the information. But if you're doing something for free, people aren't going to take it seriously. People are going to be like, you know, when people invest money, that's why one reason why therapy works is because if someone's paying $120 to be there with that therapist, they're going to fucking listen and they're going to fucking invest in themselves and, you know, maybe try to change because they're actually equating it with like, damn, if I'm paying $120 a week to sit with this, you know, this person for an hour, I should probably do something. So I think
changes, write some notes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar with astrology, but based on, just responding to what you're saying, I think that you're an amazing astrologer. And I think that, you know, the sky's the limit in terms of like, I think in terms of ability, you can do anything. And I think the more that you invest in yourself and just like kind of take the boss attitude of like, you know, you are as good as anyone I've met, honestly. Like you're really, you know, basically everything, and have really good insights, a good way of explaining things to people too. So I just think that you kind of, it's tough. It might be easier for me to see that because it's easier for others to see things. You know, you guys can probably see that easier in me than I see in myself, and vice versa. But I think, yeah, like you deserve to have like the confidence and like I don't want to say like cockiness, but like, you know, like you're fucking good at it. So you should be able to like charge, but also I understand like wanting to help people. So like my best advice for astrology is like, you know, do some pro bono stuff, like have your rates that reflect your true energy, your true, you know, all the fucking hours you spent doing charts, like learning astrology, that should be reflected in the price, in my opinion. But also if someone hits, you know, this is just for me, if someone messages me and says, hey, like I'm struggling, I'm always gonna, give them a price, unless I'm
Yeah.
super fucking busy and have no time. So yeah, but I definitely
Mhm.
see big things in them. I think you've done a lot of the difficult work, and now it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be
All of
boom.
that is so true too, because all of the lessons around the views I had on that all happened when I had my Saturn return, and it was conjunct the North Node and Venus, right? And my Venus
Mhm.
was retrograde in my birth chart, but it went direct around that same time too, like by progression, And so I feel like that's all that valuing the self. Like that goes back to valuing the self, standing up for myself, speaking my voice, assigning boundaries and saying this is not okay with me. And just all of those kinds of things were lessons over years and years and years. So it's like all of those lessons of establishing like these are my boundaries and this is, where I'm going, and you're not going to stop me. Like I'm going to reach for the sky, and I'm not going to let anybody pull me down. Like that whole struggle in itself has made me get to the point where I am now, where yes, I assign more value to what I am giving people. So then, yeah, obviously I'm charging. So yeah, but it took me a long time to get there. It really did. So I feel like I'm finally at this pinnacle point
Yeah.
where, I'm finally going to be doing this more and more and more. So it's a big step for me over a long period of time, culminating.
Kendra, you
Yeah.
probably take it for granted. I heard something recently that our strengths seem like they're nothing to us, but to other people they're significant. And I just get the vibe that with
Yes.
you, if you're like me with Neptune in the second, I think a lot of times we take it's very hard for us to put, it's that value thing, right? And I think you got
Yeah.
Venus retrograde too, so you
Mhm.
probably just like consider that like, oh, everybody else just kind of does this too, but my vibe is it's something very special for you. You come in with a guru energy that's working to integrate that into the mundane. Like I really feel like you're just so at a good place with, like, you could do a ton of, like, I think trauma work with people. I really do.
Yeah.
You would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
amazing. Like I really feel like
Yeah.
you would be able to get somebody in a room.
Such a
and be-
calm energy, soothing energy.
Yes.
Well, and
It's,
I've
like, really
heard it
special.
all, so no one's gonna shock me.
Yeah, like you
Scorpio
could go
rising,
into
people tell me things that I don't even want to hear. I get to hear everybody's dirty secrets because I'm a Scorpio rising. People just like
Yeah.
come towards you with all of their stuff, like strangers. They just tell me these
Oh.
things. I'm like, okay, that's nice.
You know,
I mean, because I'm so non-judgmental too. I think that's part of my energy is very like accepting. So I've always been that way. My mom is very accepting, so that's something that I love that she passed on to me. So I think that's part of it too. I'll just sit there and listen to somebody's dirty little secret, and I'm just like, okay. And like a good Scorpio, I just keep my mouth shut and never repeat it. Keep my mouth shut.
yeah, because you understand what trust means. That's that Scorpio energy. You know how important that is to hold a space for people that are
Yeah.
trying to figure out shadow stuff. And so you
Mhm.
know how sacred that space is, right? You need to create that. And I just feel like you're just a lot of fun too, and you're so knowledgeable, and you got a lot of great personality too, that I think you'd be the type of person that, if I have to go talk about something serious, great, but you're going to keep it light too.
Yeah, I
You
try
got-
to, because I can sense when somebody else is getting too overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay, let's lighten this up, but still let's talk through it,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I really just want to help people. I want to help people be able to deal with their own struggles and to empower them. Like it empowered me, like finding my voice. I want that to like be infectious to the people that I help with astrology or tarot or ruins or dream work or whatever it is. I just want to like help people be able to like understand themselves and understand what it is to be like a human being. Because I think everybody's very confused about that. Like we think it's all about the societal, like where we stand on the ladder and how much money we make. And, like it's not, it's about that connection from our spirit to everybody's spirit, to the plants and animals and cosmos and, you know, the universe. It's like it's all connected. So I just want to connect people and keep people from suffering if I can.
Yeah, I mean, the vision I got for you, like almost instantly, just like I keep seeing this drum, and it's just like I know that I don't know if you've done shamanic work before, but for me, I just keep seeing a drum and you holding this beat for huge groups of people. And it's like once you've, because you're there, and once you establish, then people will be calling you. People are going to be calling you, you need to come here, and like this, we're going to have this gathering, can you be here to lead something? And I feel like there's going to be opportunities coming in from all over, which will bring you and move you around. I don't know if you like to travel, but that's just like my intuitive.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
that seems amazing. And I need to accept that shamanistic part of me because I've kind of struggled with that, you know, like with the experience that had happened where I lost a whole week where I was unconscious but conscious and whatever. That whole thing has made me have like fear around like that flow of the shamanic trance work. And I've worked on it and and like slowly but surely it's getting less and less fearful based, you know what I mean? It's just like any kind of work you do with that. I'm getting more comfortable with that whole process, but it's just, you know, a time thing. But that would be awesome. I would totally do that if somebody was like, hey, come to, I don't care what country, come on over and come play some drum for us and let's do this whole ceremony. That would be like the most amazing thing. I mean, just to be in your body and to feel like that, you know, the beat and all of the energy of everybody, you know, performing together in the ceremony or, you know, doing their thing. I don't know, that creating the space thing, I keep going back to that. Like, that's what I really like. I feel it in my body. I'm supposed to have this space for people. And I always get that intuitive thing when somebody starts talking to me to be quiet and listen and listen and listen. And even if it is their dirty little secret, like I said, I don't repeat it because of that honor of that space. Like I made them feel comfortable enough to talk about that. So in honor of them feeling that comfortable, I, you know, keep my mouth shut. And it's like a confidentiality thing that isn't ever need to be written down or whatever, you know. It's just like something that's close to my heart because I feel so grateful that I could create that for somebody where they feel comfortable sharing their story or talking through trauma or whatever it may be.
You're really good at helping people feel seen, I've noticed. I mean, like, you've helped me a lot. Like so from personal experience, you know, but I mean, just your energy in general is like a very like seeing energy. And like I said, it just like you make people feel seen and heard.
Oh, thank you.
You like owls? I just think of you as like an owl. I just see the owl.
Yeah, I saw
some of owls.
That's like
and
Freya.
that's very shamanic too. And what Trey said, like, yeah, like I honestly, I feel like, and this actually, I was thinking about like a lot of you guys in here. I feel like I could say like the darkest shit, darkest secrets I fucking have, and know that, but you know, just specifically you, Kendra, I definitely feel like, you know, I could do that. I feel like a lot of people, you have that energy. Holding space is the perfect word. And also one thing I want to say, like when Trey started talking about like the shamanism stuff or like being like some type of person like that, I'll be honest, some spiritual people, how do I say this? Just annoy me in the way they talk and the way they act, and they're just really fucking cheesy. And it's just like, I want to pull my hair out. And you're like and that's like kind of what pushes me away, and like why I never want to like be one of those people. I want to be my own person. I feel like you have
like mainstream sound, bro.
Yeah, like that LA shit. Like I feel like you have a really authentic, like this is you. I am like kind of grounded in your own person, that like, even if I didn't know you and I just met you and saw you at like some type of ceremony or whatever, like giving a speech, whatever it may be, I would, you know, I don't fucking trust a lot of people, you know, like I look at a lot of people and I can see right away, like, fuck this person, or like, not, I would believe you, you know, and I would like, I would listen to a speech you'd be giving, or I would listen to something, a ceremony or whatever. So You have that
Yeah.
legitimacy that I think it's in your energy, you know?
Yeah, a lot of that is so intuitive too. Like sometimes I'll get done talking, I'll be like, "What was that?" I don't even know what I said. Because it's like it just you know what I mean? Like if I can get myself all aligned correctly, it just flows through and it'll just go and go and go and go. And then afterwards, I'm like,
What's
"Damn, I wish I would have recorded that, or I wish I would have had somebody taking notes, or like, because sometimes I can't even reference
Yeah,
it."
but I think that's part of the the channel is like you have it's not about what you say, it's
Yeah.
about trusting that place
Hello.
that you go and
Oh.
finding that place and trusting and learning how to fall into it and how to access that, because yeah, it's like that those words weren't for you, you know.
Exactly. They're
they were
always
for
someone
someone
else.
else.
Like they're
Yeah.
always, because that's the
Yeah.
words, like they're words meant to be communicated. If they were for me, I wouldn't need to say them out loud. You know what I mean? So it's like when I'm talking though, it's always for someone else. That's why I feel that like strong purpose. I have the North Node in Gemini, like, and South Node in Sag, conjunct Neptune, which is like
And
spiritual
Jupiter
stuff. Yeah. So I just talk about
and
spiritual.
Jupiter in the first house
Hmm.
in Scorpio. Is it in Scorpio?
It's in Sag. It's
Sag. Yeah, Jupiter and Sag in the first house, Scorpio rising.
Yeah, with
It's
Uranus
perfect,
too.
you know, 'cause
Uranus
it's
is
like-
with my moon and Jupiter with in that first decan of Sag. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just love the esoteric topics. I love philosophy. I love any of the concepts that get people's brain out of the way, because I feel like everybody grows and they think that they know what a human being is, but they don't realize that the brain is so helpful to us, but it also hinders us. And so I love the whole
Yeah.
getting that out of the way. And that's helped me a ton to just get back in my body and be like a human, And I feel like that's a lot of that shaman stuff, because that's where the drums come in. The drums are like the grounding. You know what I mean? Like that's the part before they start doing the trance work, because it sets you into the trance state because it's repetitive, but it first grounds you. It grounds you until you're ready, and then it starts, moving. And I've always loved that kind of music too. Like it's always been something I love.
Yeah.
It feels grounding to me. Like it does. It always feels like very heavy, and like bottom half of my body feels more glued to the ground when there's like real deep bass happening.
Oh, the drums are the best.
Yeah.
I used to play percussion in band, and I think one of my favorite drums that I ever played was the timpani, and it's like a very deep, hollow kind of like that drum, like the whoa. It's fucking awesome. It's just so like like for lack of better words, but like you said, it is super grounding.
Yeah.
You should get
And
a
I
gong.
also
Yeah.
Oh man.
You should get a gong.
I know. I've looked at some.
They're so expensive though.
I know. I know. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
How much?
It's
I
like
can't.
How
it's
much
like
are they, Trey?
800 for a low end, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be wanting at least 1,000 to 1,300 for a nice sized good gong.
Like a good one.
And there's
that'll
different
last.
types of gong. There's like the Balinese gongs, which have the nipples, which are more like pure tone sounds, and then there's the big ones that have like this shattering, almost like space cosmic sound that really I feel like that one really takes me out into space, whereas the other one it's like a
How much-
tuning me in. So it's
How much is that one cost that you said takes you to space? Like the one from the
yeah,
yoga
from
place
Raj
you went
Yoga,
to?
like that one,
$5,000 or
something
something?
that big, it'll probably cost that looking at 3,000 maybe, that big.
Dreams.
But
Dreams.
yeah, I know. I
One
want
day.
one that big where I can just like sit and meditate and just go play it myself, and play it for other people.
Yes. Yes. Well,
That'd be so
I feel
dope.
like that's what they used, is different tones to ground you or to channel you out. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's what the
are you
shamanic, like
doing?
the drum things are. It's like pull you out or bring you back, or like that might be part of it too. I don't know.
And,
Yeah, it's
I was gonna say, when you were, I'm excited for you in a lot of ways, but I think like what you said before about, what you were 5 years ago and what you are now. And I feel like even what happened when you were you were out for a week, so to speak, and you were just completely connected with spirit sources, the way I see that happen. But it was almost
Yeah.
like your source was like, you're going to be connected no matter what, lady. And it was also like a way for, I mean, I think the way I interpret that at least was through our discussion here is there was a lot of interference at the time. There was a lot of stuff going on in your life. So it would make sense that it was like kind of hard on you because you were still probably so connected. But it's like when you got, it's almost like the analogy of like water running, and instead of like running and like going through all this stuff and it's creating all these rapids, it's more of a smooth channel. But it sounds like that, you know, like right now you're in such a good place. It makes sense that you would have fear because back in that time it was probably a rough ride given
Right.
all the other stuff. But I'm kind of excited. I'm very excited for you because it sounds like some of that resistance or whatever was in the way is kind of clearing. So you have more of this seamless, you know, like ideally when we're connected with source in that kind of Piscean way, it's seamless, like in a good meditation. So you don't have all that kind of turbulence and
interference was good. That was a good word to explain that.
okay. It just seems like it's like sometimes people will say that when they start meditating, all hell breaks loose because you notice all the things in your life that are like out of whack maybe.
Yeah.
And then when it's clearer, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm in the flow, instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm in the flow. I've got my finger in the light socket and I don't know what the hell to do with all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of way I look at it, as opposed to if you don't have the interference, it's cool. It's all good and there's nothing to be fearful of. But when you've got resistance in the circuit, it's like, man, oh yeah, I blew a fuse and that was interesting. And you know, that's what I got when you were talking through things. I was like, man, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that's like clearing or falling away. But the exciting thing for me is that you've always been connected, right? You're always connected. And it's just a matter of now being able to come into that power maybe fully and not feel like all this other shit is holding you down, holding you back.
Right. Like I'm not trying to escape all that anymore. Like, so, and that makes so much sense. That is literally the reinforcement I've been telling myself since it happened, was because the only time I remember coming back to my body was when they were doing a spinal tap on me. And I watched it. I saw my ex-husband like crying, upset. I saw myself like writhing around and then like trying to wrestle me. And I was like, all right, I'm out. So to me, it's like I was always connected through my body. So I knew there was just some severe pain. So I came back instantly. I assessed the situation in some spiritual manner and was like, oh, is she good? And then like off I went again, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like the fact that I came back when there was some risk to my body in that way tells me that there was some communication going on some level of from my body to where I was at. So whether I was conscious of it or not doesn't matter. I know that because the response, you know what I mean? Because I was sucked back to that like actual hospital room. That was the only time I ever remember even seeing the inside of that room before I came to. So yeah.
It's such a powerful story. I mean, I know may still kind of scare the crap out of you, but for me,
it just
like,
makes me get all buzzy and it makes me like start lifting away and I have to like calm back down because I'm talking about lifting away, you know, it's almost like go away, you know, so it's just easy for me to like flow with the universe. I think it's that South Node Sag and with Neptune, like having a South Node conjunct Neptune makes me so comfortable, you know what I mean, with just like dissolving boundaries and just being like whatevs, like I'm just gonna merge with it all, you know, like that's more comfortable to
Past
me
life
than being stuck
mystic.
here.
Yeah,
past life mysticism.
we were hanging out. Kendra and I are convinced we were hanging out like we got burned at stakes not too far away from each other.
Yeah.
So we were definitely playing in that space. But yeah, and that's that with your Pluto in the 12th house and the polarity point being Virgo, I just totally feel like you're tapped into that. Now, how do you help us humans that are physical to understand how we can play in that space, if that makes sense? You know, that's like the beauty of
Build the
Virgo,
dance.
it's the divine and brings it into all the stuff we've got to do with our body and all the practical stuff. And I feel like you have that. Like you have the connection. Like you would be the type of person like, and you don't even have to be talking spiritual stuff, but like you're just such a helpful person, but you've got the aura too there that goes with it, if that makes sense, as opposed to, no, you need to do this, this, and this. Somebody's telling you all the routines to do, but there's nothing behind that. You're just a shell.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
you've got all that, and then you're able to say like, okay, you know, human that I love, here's what you can do on a practical level to sustain yourself and, you know, drink water and do that. I just feel like that's the beauty of your Virgo energy and the ruler of your North Node. So North Node in Gemini, you look at Mercury in Virgo is really like giving people very specific advice that will help them to get that connection. Because I think you already have it so much.
Yeah, and
like,
that's
how
what
can you tell people?
comes intuitively too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard
Thank you.
sanctuary, like, because you are a sanctuary for people, and that will manifest around you in a place, in a material place, because once you draw that power down more often and more frequently, and you start reaching out to more people, you know, it's no longer just going to be a small gathering, it's going to be bigger gatherings. And the sanctuary, you know, you're like the mother womb creation, you know, that, and that to draw that vortex through is to create a physical place to have that sanctuary. And I see cactuses.
Oh, that's awesome. I've always wanted to go to the desert, to Sedona.
Yeah, Sedona, definitely. I feel that so strong. That sounds really good.
Yeah,
sounds,
I like
spot on.
look at those pictures like all the time. I just like meditate, like I'm there. I'll probably go there. It's not, you know, physically, but I have never left the country. Like legally, I did illegally go to Mexico. I have gone to Mexico back in the time where you could just walk over the border, and if you know you were white, they'd let you back in. You know, so
Rocky Point.
So yeah, but it's so crazy to me, and so to me, it's almost like I travel in another way. You know, like because I haven't physically traveled much, but I would love to. I would
Come
love to
visit.
go to other countries.
It'll come.
and
It's
get
coming.
out of the US. I know. I've been saying I'm going to build tree houses in Canada for forever.
Come up. I know some good spots.
I know.
love
It would
tree
be
houses.
awesome. We'll go.
Avatar tree houses.
Yes, and have all the cats.
Yes.
All these cats just would love tree house.
We'll teach them how
They
to
just
fly.
have windows open. They just crawl in and out. They just climb in the trees.
And they'll
all
get
the
really
time.
freaked out. Like
Yeah.
but it's like if you can imagine like a cat on helium, that's how they'd be if they're like in the sky. They're like, what the fuck is going on?
It just reminds me of those like that part in Shrek where they like blow the fucking animals up and turn them into balloons. There's like a snake
Oh,
and
yeah.
something. Yeah, it's like a snake and a frog or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Damn humans. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all all saying that. That really encourages me. I love that. Everything y'all said, very accurate, very good advice too. I appreciate it. That was very sweet to hear y'all's thoughts on what you think I should kind of go towards and whatnot.
Yeah. Who else? Who else?
I could talk about my cause for ages. It's not my goal.
Yeah,
like,
baby.
I guess I've gone through like a whole bunch of stuff, and I've sort of like taken out like, what does Greg need? You know, that like what can I do? What's gonna be good for me? And sort of like try to look through the lens of what's good for everyone, you know, like what's the money, not the money answer, what's the thing that's going to make change. It doesn't have to make money, so to speak, you know. It took me 4 years, but it came to this simple as word. It was like harmony, man. And then I was like, why the hell didn't I think of that before? Like, I've been looking at philosophers, been looking at scholars, been looking at religions, been looking at everyone. And if everyone's foundation, like teach a kid, little human being comes in, right? Be like, yo, welcome to Earth. One rule, you got to pledge yourself to harmony. You can do what you want. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, I guess the next goals is to like just help, not help, just share the message, right? Because I guess I remember, like I was saying about past lifetimes and things like that. I remember that I hail from a place, a different universe, right? A different universe. It's not this one, right? It's not where I'm from, right? I come from a place of harmony, so that's why all of this like doesn't make sense, right? Where there's no hierarchy, right? There's no money, and one of the pillars of life over there is what you choose to explore, you become, right? So, and just like principles like these, where you can't do that over here, you know, and to me, there's like this massive blanket, this veil that people just can't bust through, because you can only look like at your atmosphere, your universe, you know, and even to understand why this universe is here, like how to get here in the first place, you know. If everything was harmonious already, what the flip happened for like a whole dark universe trying to become light, you know? If everything was light and now it's a dark universe and the dark universe is trying to become light, what the hell's going on, you know? So I asked these really big questions, you know, and meditated on them for like quite a while, man, and it's just the biggest problem over here is power. It's the most darkest art form you could practice, right? Oh,
Yep.
do you mind if I read? I literally wrote something last night about it. Maybe it was for today. Do you mind if I read it to you?
Read it. Yeah, read it.
Please.
It's titled Your Syndicate of Power. Your syndicate of power are nothing more than broken old men and women stuck in their memories. They know no love, no connection, just the hierarchy of power and its guilty pleasures. Please do not give them sympathy or empathy they cannot feel, but only use it against you as a weapon. They just need a moment for them to figure out how to get their next fix of power. Power tripping is the biggest and most destructive ailment there is. These people are sick, possessed by the need to control the uncontrollable. They are delusional in their quest, for they cannot stop, like a red mist rage. Like an addict looking for its next fix, they will and have sold their souls and bloodlines to the ideal of control. The thing is, the reward they expect that the reward they expect they will get with the deals they made is just a fantasy. This will be their denial. This will bring them much sorrow. As for addicts or people coming off any type of trip, withdrawals are horrendous. Theirs will be the worst, for they and their forefathers have done unspeakable things that you could only imagine. But harmony is available to all. Their road to it might take a great deal, many more lifetimes than yours, though. Pew. Power Syndicate.
Wow,
That was
The
really
empire.
beautiful.
it was.
Yeah, you thought deeply about the concepts around power dynamics, because that I really believe that is like the root of every abuse there is. Like every kind of abuse there is, or violence, is all control, because you don't have control of yourself, or you want control of another because you don't have control of yourself. So
Well, it's elusive, right? It's elusive, right? The delusion of power itself, right?
yes, it's a
So
delusion.
when you're under the influence, so like put it like alcohol or weed or anything, right? When you're under the influence of something, you've lost control, right?
Yeah.
Bang. But the thing with power is the sticky thing about power is when you're under the influence of power, you believe you have control, and anything that disrespects that entitled sense of, that misinformed sense of security, anything that threatens your trip, you want to show them that you are. So it's this it's probably worse than taking crack, I'd say.
Because then you want to obliterate your enemies. Like,
Yeah, and
Everyone
To
is an enemy.
show them the thing that you believe you are,
Power.
that you're
Yes.
in control.
and also, did you write that, by the way, or is that something you
Yeah, he
found?
did. He wrote
No,
That's
he
fucking
Yeah.
amazing, dude. That's fucking awesome. You should put that on Instagram or wherever. But like the thing I really like that really resonated with me is this feeling of like, you know, when you're like doing drugs or anything that has a high. So in this example, power, right? It's that come down, right? Because you think it's like I had this image since I was young of like it was a dream I had or something where I became really, really rich in the dream because I used to want to be really, really rich. I guess I still kind of do, but I don't really care as much.
Bro, you're rich
And-
in love, brother.
yeah. Anyways, I was, so check out this dream out. I was on this boat with all these people I didn't actually like or trust, super rich, and this was supposed to be the I made it moment. It was a dream. Like a lot of my dreams, I live in entire lifetimes, or like the ones I remember, or like entire lifetimes in one dream. And I remember like it was like the worst feeling. I don't know if I killed myself in the dream, but like I felt like this crazy panic attack because I realized that like the whole life I had been working just like stepping over people, like fucking people over and doing horrible things just to become rich and successful. And then when I'd finally gotten there, it was nothing. It was shit. And
Yeah.
that made me even more depressed. So in your poem, when you said the part about like the come down of that power being worse than that from any drugs, it's like, it made me think of that. It was really well said. You should definitely post that somewhere if you haven't
Well,
already.
it's
Really
like
cool.
I've been writing on a bunch of things. So what I do, right? Like I said, I hail from harmony, right? Like a human, like a being like me, not a human. I don't, even if I leave this lifetime, right? There's not enough time for me to come back and try again. Like the whole message that I have for humanity and this like whole universe, everything, like every god, everything, like I'm like everyone's equal in this message. The thing is, you either choose harmony or you cease to exist. I mean, the whole place. Like, there's no, that's for everyone, right? Everyone has to chip in. Like, and it's the only logical option. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like survival of the species. Like,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
also
Yeah,
think though, I also
agree.
think that these this is initiations for people who have fallen, is this dark power path. Like Jesse said, when you come to the other side, a lot of people will not have that realization, so they'll continue in their karmic cycle of claiming power, or they'll be put down into a really brutal place where they have to kind of learn empathy. But this is all, these are all really,
Humility.
yeah,
They're gonna
humility.
have to be, they'll probably be humbled. Like they'd have to suffer a consequence to be humbled. Like that's how it go. Like you run
Yeah.
away, and it's like discipline, right? Because my dad was first in the military, then he was a priest. So I got like raised with an ultimate discipline, right, around respect and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And the minute you're
Capricorn
someone
moon.
Right?
reels you in, boom, bro, you get
Literally,
you
that's
get
so funny. You have a
humbled, bro.
Capricorn moon. You said
Yeah,
that.
you get humbled, bro. Or and if it's in front of other people, like my dad didn't give a shit, man. If I was acting up in a shop or whatever, bro, hiding in the shop, ultimate humiliation for me in front of all these people because acting like a little twerp. Do you know what I mean? Like my old man did not care. He's like, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. When I used to hear boy, and I'd be like, oh, damn,
Yeah.
here we go. You know, but it's the thing. But the thing is, like, for this next shift that's gonna happen, people cannot have empathy or sympathy for people who willfully destroy people. Do you know what I mean? It is not part of their process. The healing
That's, yeah.
has to be their healing process, right? It's like a them thing. So there's I don't know, you guys know astrology. I know what's happening not through astrology, but through planning and through affirmations. And like I pitch my ideas to the universe, they get back to me. We have like meetings and things like that. But for this next segment, as you can see, the world's unraveling like an onion,
Yeah.
right? The next segment, what did I call it? It was like Christians call it like Judgment Day, but it's not that. It's more gonna be like the Great Trial.
The reaping.
Or like
That's-
the two paths. It's like the two paths, the timelines, you know, the divergence we could go down. It's like, And it's like
Yeah.
there's a crucial moment in time where it's like, where are we gonna go?
Yeah, well, this
But
energy's
isn't-
happened before.
Isn't
You
just
know, like.
But isn't it funny, just like from the pop culture, just really quickly, like the whole cancel stuff? Isn't this just like, I know it's like it's completely different, but it's just a funny metaphor to think of like
Yeah.
people getting canceled right now, how huge that's becoming.
Or how, like,
Um,
for me, I watch too much true crime. You can ask Gabby. I watch way too much true crime. My dad's been a cop my whole life. I can't help it. But more of that Scorpio rising. But the whole like R. Kelly and Weinstein and Epstein and like the major
It's
abusers
everyone,
that
man.
have used their power in the wrong way, political factors that have used their power in the wrong way. This whole Saturn Pluto thing has been breaking down that power structure. And then all the Aquarius stuff we're going through is going to be showing that,
Yeah.
the only way is for
It's
everybody
just-
to be in the community and be
Yeah,
like true.
yeah. Well,
it's just crazy. It's crazy because like people for so long, like didn't really care about like what you're doing when no one's watching,
Yeah.
right? They think like, okay, whatever I do when no one's watching doesn't matter. But now with
People
like
think like
cancel
that?
culture, like, and people use, I mean, this is like the thought of like maybe not people in this group, but like a lot of
That's
a
the
lot of
thing.
people don't
Do
give a
people
fuck.
act different
They only care
when they?
Oh yeah.
like famous people and stuff. A lot, like most people,
If
yeah,
you're-
they don't
who
really
are
give
you
a
if you're
shit
not
about
that
like
game?
about
What? That blows my
exactly. But
mind,
that's how the
bro.
that's how the masses are. But now like the collective, I'm talking like mainstream culture is like seeing like, you know, like fuck, like if I was a bad person, not me, but like if I'm like, you know, a public figure or anyone, if I was a bad person like 6 years ago, like sleazy with women or something, like so many people are having the shit catch up with them. I just find it interesting with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And also really quickly, guys, Beck, what's up? Just welcome or happy to have you.
Hey.
So yeah, we're just having a little discussion. I know you came in a little bit late, about, we're kind of just like going like person by person, not really in any order, talking about our career, kind of dharma, like what we're here to do, how we feel about our place, you know, in like from a career, like larger life standpoint. It's very Piscean kind of this day today. We all feel a little bit of that Pisces energy. And so yeah, like different people have been sharing about like what they see for their greatest vision in their career and their like public life and what they're here to do and meaning and anything related to that. So we're just kind of going person to person. So yeah,
Okay,
welcome.
Cool. Thanks. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, back
So,
to you, Greg.
I actually have a question for Greg.
Oh.
And this is kind of going back to your whole you know, what you read, which was it was great. Okay, so you said that you believe everyone is equal, right? And that's what you're supposed to spread, like that kind of message.
I don't know what I mean by that is where I'm from, everyone's equal. Over here, the reality of it is that's just a sentiment, right?
Okay,
Because
so
power throws it off balance, right?
okay,
Power throws it off balance, yeah, and
Mhm.
hierarchy throws it all off balance. So we can't, like, what's another way? From a realm of harmony, right? You're measured by greatness. There's no hierarchy, but if you're like an explorer into a subject, right, and it becomes something that's beneficial to harmony and everyone that lives in it, right, you're considered great. You know, it's undeniable. Like you've added value, right? It's not a hierarchy. It's just that you've added something. You helped. Do you know what I mean? So
I mean, I kind of don't agree with it. Or I can
yeah.
I can respect your perspective, but the way I see it, or I can respect it. So the way I see it is like, I would think harmony would be measured by peace, like how much peace you can attain within yourself and then, you know, and then put out.
Yeah. Well, it's like the
Which-
saying, like I have in my shirt, right? Harmony is the state, right? So what's the saying that I have on my logo? It's peace is the practice and harmony is the reward. So they symbiotic. They're not separate. You know,
Yeah.
like one's a verb and the other one's like what you get from doing that. It's like the payment or the evidence or one of
The
those things.
outcome.
They are not separate at all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thanks. This is amazing.
Dude, I honestly feel like you can hit any spot. Like, you know, there's people in the spiritual community who is like, they can only appeal to a certain demographic. Whereas for you, it's like you can go into the darkest places, like you can go into the prisons, into you know, like the mental asylums. You can go find, you know, the homeless person on the street. You can be anywhere and people will hear you because you said that you are there. You are on rock bottom with everyone. And it's like you are there and you are with them, and people will respect you and listen to you because of that. Whereas if someone comes in with like, hey everyone, so this is like how we get in tune with our chakras and stuff like that. If you went into a prison like that, they just fucking shank you. So it's like you know how to get a message across to the people who have been conditioned the most or fucked over the most by the people in power. And that is how I think how I see you like uplifting people, is because you're the uprising towards harmony. And it's not violence, but it's outspoken voice. You know, it's your voice coming heard. It's the people who have been fucked over, their voices coming heard and no longer standing for that power struggle. And that's really where I see like your place shining forth.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's not like anything, like I don't want, like on my journey, I know that people do the same thing that I've been practicing to like not get used to, is the shiny stuff, right? I want everyone to realize that equality is, no one's greater, like at the moment, at the beginning of it, right? There will be great people, but everyone's like equal, man. Like, don't ever look at anyone like more special than you or more beautiful than you or none of that stuff, because you are uniquely you and you're a representative of all the lifetimes that you're the chosen one for your group. Like, you're that, and you bring that to the table. But to get us to be in the world in a safe space where we can choose to unlock that or explore that, and to be, you know, that's like sort of like where my vision's headed. Hopefully we'll get it done.
Yeah, I love it.
Greg, when
Yeah,
you
I definitely get like the writer vibes from you, just like I do from Gabby. Like I feel like y'all should write, and that you just read to us too was like awesome. Like it reached so many different points in like a very small condensed amount of writing. Like if you wrote like a whole book on that dynamic, you know what I mean? Because you understood it, and like you said, like I feel like you're to the level where you could teach other people, or like Trey said, like go to places where people need that and they don't have the resources to provide this kind of level. I mean, they provide what, like a priest or something, but it's not like a, you know, like not everybody has a religion. So this is reachable to everybody.
I've got my, because I'm like a real simple guy, right? My love language is time. So it doesn't matter what impact I have in the world. Like, I have to sit in my backyard and look at the sky and do what I want. Like, it's very important to me. Being a Scorpio, do you know what I mean? Like, that is very, it doesn't matter how many people would want to contact me, pick my brain, and hey, it's my time. Like, leave me alone. Like, the reason why I come up with stuff like this and contemplate and speak like this is because of that time. So I can't ever let that like escape me. Do you know what I mean? So I have this analogy and this rule that I have, like simplicity is the destroyer of like chaos, right? It's the key to chaos. And I have this every time I think I'm overcomplicating something, I call it the golden rainbow arrow, just like one arrow. Like if I fire this arrow, where's it gonna hit? You know, is it gonna shatter any type of armor? Is it worthy of such a name? You know, and I just measure all my writing and all my speaking. So I'm actually, instead of writing books, right? Because I haven't ever been really good at writing or reading. I've been a sports person and then a mechanic. And so for me, like stories, parables, short, sharp, to the point, like I cannot sit in front of someone who's like scholared and for them to explain a whole thesis to me. Like I'd rather you just give me the end and then I'll go away and then I'll think about it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm way more like that. Like I don't want to be tainted by how you understand something. I'll take it away, and then when I'm got my points, I'll be like, hey man, I got some questions for you. Da 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 da. You know, but then that always ends up in an argument because then they think I'm like questioning. I don't even know how that works. Really, they give you something,
Yeah.
go back,
Yeah.
think about it, and you're like, oh yeah, I see the inconsistencies over here. And then you're like, hey, what about this? And then it's probably something they haven't thought about, but they get so mad. Oh,
Yeah, they're like,
I
fuck you,
mean-
I spent 3 years working on that.
yeah, and
That's
you're like,
right.
I got an A.
It's funny because it's true.
I got an A.
Got an A. You're very much like the philosopher, though. That is a philosopher's way of learning.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like the reason why they get so upset with you is because I mean, okay, so we have like when you have a friend who is going through a situation that you've already been through, right? You've learned it, you know the ins and out of it, you know all the mistakes, all the turns not to make. And so when they're trying to explain that part to you, but you just want the lesson, and then you come back and you try to tell them, you know, all the turns like A, B, C, D. I guess they could be upset with you is because it's like, well, you didn't hear me out, so why do I need to return it? You know?
Oh, yeah. I could understand in like that aspect, like on emotional stuff, like I hold space for people, right? But when it comes to like philosophy, scholar, and what you've learned and what you believe in, right?
Mhm.
That's where because every man and woman who knows something comes from another man and woman who knew something. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Not necessarily, but okay.
Only enlightened people are the ones who have come up and gifted ideologies and things that people can practice, but the rest, I just see it as part of like chaos. Do you know what I mean? Like chaos refined. So I'm always trying to look at if something's like super long that I can't understand, and there's big words and there's all this stuff. I get so overwhelmed, like super
Okay.
overwhelmed. But if it comes to like someone's experience and stuff, I can never ever comment on someone's experience unless they ask me, "Hey, so what do you think about that?" I
Mm.
will not, unless I'm
Yeah,
invited.
because you don't want to invade. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Unless I'm invited to speak on it, and I always ask people like when they say to me, "Greg, tell me your thoughts on this," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" Like I have this thing where don't ask me a question if you don't want to know my answer, right? It might trigger you, it might not trigger you, but I need you to realize that you just asked me to give you my thoughts. And I
I
have to
fucking
like,
know what
clear
you
that
mean.
out.
I hate that shit. I'm like, man,
Same.
you freaking said to tell you. Like, what the fuck? Oh,
Yeah,
and then they make you feel like something's wrong with you. But I'm like, bro, okay, I believe you. I believe what you believe, but all right.
Actually, you know what I'm
Okay,
gonna
let's go
do?
with that.
I'm gonna create like a permission slip. When someone's like, "So what do you reckon?" and I'll be like, "Bro, can you just sign here right quick?" And
Dude, please fucking forward it to me because I need that.
and yeah, and then when you get mad, bro, and then you like tear it off like a little raffle ticket, and you hold it, bro. And when you start talking, and they get mad, you're like, "Bro, look, you're holding the ticket, bro."
Sometimes people can suck. I'm like, man, you asked me to tell you. And okay, honestly, most of the time it's because, you know, people are skeptical. People are skeptics, you know, or yeah. And so it's like, well, when I pinpoint it, don't project onto me, you know,
Yeah.
which always happens anyway, you know.
I
So
suppose
it's
it's
like,
like
well,
I suppose
damn.
it's like going to the physio, eh? When you got like a knot in your back or something or in your neck, and they like push on it, you know, and it's
Oh
like
man. Yes,
and
I know exactly
I
what you
guess the
mean.
truth works in the same way, eh? When you like locate what's the problem and then you tell them, they react like a knot or a muscle. They become the
No, but
muscle.
Well, at the same point too, nobody likes being wrong. Nobody likes being told that they're wrong, like whether it be emotionally, and also nobody likes to, I can't say nobody because I mean there's a lot of us that are like, you know what, maybe I should
love
look at
being wrong.
myself, but you know, if somebody is like going through an emotional thing and then you say something like after they ask you and you say something that you're like, hey, maybe you're the one being the asshole, you know, like they can't handle that. Like
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
people they'd rather live in ignorant bliss than like the hard reality of truth,
well, because
because
Yeah.
they want to just
it's
hide
yeah.
from it.
I don't think it's that they want to hide from it because, you know, obviously everyone knows, well, everyone's aware, whether it's internally or whatever, but everyone has an idea of what their damage is and what kind of damage they put out ultimately. But like the thing is not a lot of people want to change because change means work. And why work when you're like, why do something that's going to be hard when you are already living a life that you're content with?
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to be stuck in the pain versus fucking doing all the hard ass mental work.
Oh,
You know?
absolutely. There's so many people. I know so many people, like even close to me, that like they are content just sitting in their fucking pain and being like, oh, well, I'm like this because of this, and like don't really care to heal it. They're just like accept that as a reason to keep being a shitty person and projecting that onto other people. It's like, oh, my parents did this to me, so now I'm gonna treat other people this way. It's like, no, bitch, you need to sit the fuck down and figure that shit out, because you can't be coming around projecting that on other people, especially when they're sitting there trying to do their own fucking inner work. Like,
You know, honestly though, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you know, I'm a Pisces, so I can't help but feel everything fucking super deeply, which is annoying. And then I'm a Virgo, you know, like Virgo moon, Virgo rising, which is also annoying. But you know, I can't help but feel like, okay, because I can sense a lot of damage in people, and I always express I can only identify it in you because I can fucking identify it in me. So if I'm
Yup.
saying that you have this problem, you're damn right I have that fucking problem too. Shit. But I'm
Same,
working
yup.
on it. I've, you know, like I have done so much like mental health work in just the last year. And it's been hard, like extremely hard. But it's like you know, I feel like they don't mean to put it out there as like damage, you know, like everyone's trying to take care of themselves, and maybe busting a nut is how they do it, and or you know, doing whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that was like vulgar, but
No,
you
no,
know,
no rules in this
Yeah,
place.
did you hear me just
Okay,
go
rad.
off? Like every second word's a curse word.
yeah,
We're all
think,
about
like-
busting. We're all about busting nuts here.
Yeah.
hell yeah,
Especially Greg.
We do.
yeah, I
he's
can
he's,
tell.
he's the
In
nut
a,
the
in a,
nut
meta,
bust
in
the
a,
nut
in a
buster.
medical, in a metaphysical sense, I'm practicing abstinence and restraint. So
I went down that road, Greg. It is
in
a
the
dark
physical
road.
But I mean, like ultimately, I don't think people want to
Oh,
hurt other
man.
people. I just think everyone's hurt and they don't know how to properly go about with it.
Oh, absolutely. But then there's also some people that it's like, you know, your actions are hurting me. And they're like, well, people hurt me. So, you know, and like personally,
Yeah.
I've encountered people like that. And it's like, okay, well, you're still projecting the pain that was done to you onto other people, but you're also conscious of it because I'm telling you, like, hey, this is hurting me. But then
Yeah.
they're incessantly like, no, whatever. Like,
But like, okay, no, I get what you're saying, but the way I can see it, or like that kind of thought process is like, well, obviously they learned a lesson from it, you know, like they learned how to hold themselves at a different like standard, I guess, which I guess, you know, might have helped them. And it's like, if you look at it, okay, you can look at it any way, but like it could also be seen through like tough love. You know, like tough love ends up shaping you. I don't know, you know, how you perceive it is how you put it out, you know?
oh,
Yeah.
100%. We're
yeah.
all reflections of our own inner beings. Like who we are on the outside is a reflection, a direct reflection of who we are on the inside. And some people don't even realize that. I mean, there's a lot more people are waking up to that realization and starting to do something about it. But like, you know, the generations before ours, like they didn't have any fucking idea what was going on. And if they wanted to get help for some sort of thing that they're going through, they were shamed. And they were told that they were fucking crazy. Fuck, people would get lobotomized for having an anxiety attack. Like, you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
I would be.
we come from a fucking generations and generations of a lot of fucking pain and a lot of suffering and oppression and you
Yes.
know, like, and I mean, obviously there's some people that are more oppressed than others, but in the end of the day, everybody's oppressed to some degree by other people. Like we're all trying to heal that
Yeah.
shit.
yeah, I found an interesting word the other day that obviously I had never really heard about, but melancholy. I was like,
Oh,
wow, I
great
heard it,
word.
right? And it was, and this, I was like, mental health. I was like, see labels. I was like, and it said that it is the depression of the spirit.
Of the what?
A
Spirit.
depression
Sperm?
of the spirit. The spirit.
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 The
They said
spirit.
sperm. I was
The
like, whoa,
spirit.
too much nut
Yeah.
busting
Too much
going
nut
on.
busting. Nah, a
Well,
depression of this.
Great.
A depression of the
Greg the nut buster.
Yeah, and I thought that was like real beautiful because like that's exactly what people like are. They're in a state of like melancholy. Like, you know, like yeah, your mind when that goes crazy, you know, that's like a incongruency of like your heart and your, or actually maybe not. Maybe if you're feeling terrible, it relays into here and you're picking up on stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, like but a depression of your spirit, I can understand because I've experienced that multiple times. And even like what last year in just before lockdown, our first one, I got chucked in a loony bin for speaking for 5 days and put on antipsychotics. Yeah, I spoke to someone at a bank. They asked me, you know, why. Yeah, I went to a bank, asked them for a bank loan, to help me like do my startup and stuff. And the guy's like, oh, so like, what's your plan? You know, like what inspired you? And then, bro, like an idiot, I spoke to a muggle about. I was like, oh, I just had this vision, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what, like vision and stuff? And I was like, yeah. And then he like told his manager rang the police because they said I was
What
bipolar.
the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. And then right, 2 days later, I was sitting at home, bro. I'm sitting in my undies, bro, playing guitar with my new fairy deck out, bro. Like tarot card deck, not my and then
Wait, ferret dick? Is that what you said? So you have a pet ferret and his dick's out. It's just too much, Greg.
bro, and
I'm gonna have to remove you from the group.
I thought that was free, right? No rules here. And
Dick's out
Ferret porn is
swinging.
not allowed.
Free the ferret dick. Free the ferret dick.
so I'm sitting at home 2 days after I went to the bank, and my mum comes rushing in the house and she's like crying and stuff, and she's like, tell me this isn't true. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're kind of like messing up my vibe here. And she's like, the hospital rang and said that you need to come in, that you held a bank to ransom and you're wearing a pink dress. And I was like, what? I was like, when? And they were like, today. And I was like, I've been home all day. Like, what are you talking about? It's 10 o'clock. How am I supposed to get to bank? And then ended up going to the hospital and stuff. And then just to like clear it up. And then I didn't know that they had rang my old man and said that I actually got arrested in the city for doing the same thing. So they told both my parents something else, like two different stories. So then I went into the hospital trying to figure out what the heck. It felt like I was in a movie. And then I get in there, and then they were like, start asking me all these questions about like, oh, you have visions, so you must think you have super. They already had like a narrative, like scripted for me, and anything that I was gonna say. And I was like, yo, so where's the guy that you arrested? Like, where's that guy? And they're like, no, that's you. The cops brought you in. And I'm like, no, my mum brought me in. She's sitting like right next to me. And they're like, no, the cops brought you. Bro, my mum froze.
What
Like
the
she
hell?
realized what was happening. She just went into like shock. Like my mum couldn't say anything. Like I was like, mum, and she's just like crying. And they're like, see, you're putting so much like stress on your mum. We need to help you and all this stuff. So, bro, I got locked up for 5 days on antipsychotics, bro. And it is the worst.
Jesus.
Yeah, antipsychotics for me, like I sat outside for 3.5 years practicing peace and sitting in nature and getting shoved into concrete walls, taking antipsychotics. Bro, when I took it, I literally felt my soul just die. I was just like, that sucks. It's like, man, I've worked.
Those are
I was like,
heavy.
man, I worked so hard to grow that thing back, and now she's gone again.
Mhm.
And yeah, and it's just through this power structure, you know what I mean? Like seeing people getting like burned at the stake back in the day, and just to like highlight like what you were saying was that just to like realize, like to not take all of that stuff like on board with you, but only from about 2017, right? 2015 onwards, right? Has the concept of peace and people actually felt it. The billions of humans before that timeline, nah. There's most of them, like 99% of them, who would never have even thought that. They would have thought peace is a fairy tale. But here we are. and the spiritual communities, and they're all doing their bit, raising the vibe and stuff. So it's like, it's quite like a highlight that we get to be a part of, like
Absolutely.
ushering that in, because this was supposed to be impossible, wasn't it?
Bridging the gap.
Greg, when you were talking, you know, like in knowing now that you have a Capricorn moon, I wonder if Pluto has gone conjunct your moon, because it'd be interesting to know it's kicking up what I thought about with the power, I think, shadow side of Capricorn, right? And what we're seeing with Pluto going through Capricorn, the last degrees, is like things are melt. Whenever I think of Pluto hitting a sign, it's like it melts that. I mean, it's like total destruction,
Yeah.
you know, taking no prisoners. And the vibe I get right now, and Pluto is also Scorpio purification. It's
Yeah.
whereas Virgo is some purification, Pluto is like, you don't purify, we're burning you. You know, kind of.
Pure die.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's go this way, like we were talking about, go this way or go this way, and choose wisely. Because if you don't, you know, this is your last straw. And the vibe I got from you, just to add on, is you're that type of person who is the great person at the bridge where people are having to make that decision. And you're like, this has been the fantasy, folks. And because I do sense from you a very groundedness. Like you're not, when you were speaking about the philosophy and all that stuff, I feel like that Capricorn vibe of like, don't bullshit me. Like, give me some real tangible things. You seem like a tangible guy. And how can I help people to understand that the harmony that they've been looking for is the harmony with the source universe? It's not a harmony with the structure, because that structure is not in alignment with nature, right?
Yeah.
It's just not like it's a false sense of security. And so I'm just kind of speaking fluidly here, but I just feel like you are the one who's like, you know, it's okay. We've all kind of lived this lie, but now you're like, hey, before you go crazy and jump off the bridge, cross the bridge, and I'll help you to. It's almost like we're having to go through a deconstruction of mind and then reconstruct it again, so that we can. Does that make sense? And a lot of people
for sure
are having a lot of mental health issues on top of what we already have already, with, you know. And it's just I think you would be like, hey, understand you've lived this lie, you've been part of this narrative, but let me tell you what the true freeing narrative is. And that's one of being connected. That's one of being in harmony with myself, which is harmony with source, which is heart, you know, which we all should be. And then when we're doing that, we don't need to control people or manipulate people or use these oppressive structures, Capricorn, shadow side, to keep things in order and make sure you're behaving and you're going and, you know, getting, you know, doing your job for minimum wage, and I'm getting, you know, all the shadow stuff. And so that I just feel like you're at a really good place for that. Like you really can bridge the gap. And even though like you're kind of going through that, you know, you had that experience of being able to see just kind of how crazy that stuff is. I mean, that's the thing with Scorpio, it can dig deep into that crap, but it can really like help to purify. Like it'll go down where it's ugly and then help people to purify. And I think you're in a solid position with whatever you do to help reach people that feel like they've been living a lie, because a lot of people are struggling, I think, with mental health issues right now, because like, this was my construct. This is what I was holding on to. I was holding
my identity.
I was holding, you know, whatever it is, you know. And it's just like what you said before too, around it's not the money, it's not this. It is like your connection. Like if you have the connection, all the other stuff can happen, right? Like naturally, it doesn't have to be, you know, holding on.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, bro. And also like and to like add on to that is that because I am like I am with my time, I'm very conscious of taking up people of ask and having an ask of people to give me their time when I fully understand that they're running at 400 miles an hour all week, every week. So for me, it's a massive ask for me to like take up like 15 minutes of people's time. So for me, it's way easier. That thing that I read you before, right? That takes 2 minutes. It's just a seed, bang, just for someone to like contemplate on, right? But I know I know most of the stuff that I have written down and the things that I actually want to speak about, they're really short, but no, they'll be stuck in your brain. They'll be like, you'll sit and when you have a quiet moment, you'll be thinking, bro, what the, yeah. And there's no answer. The whole aim of my game, or the whole aim of everything, is just to get you to that place of harmony. And the only way for me to do that is to like silence people's mind, to like not look for an answer, to just agree. And agreeing is when you give yourself permission, be a part of something, right? And that's all I want people to do, is just experience the moment, that stillness of where they go, fuck, or like an aha moment. And you just sit in the aha moment and you be like, wow. And that's what peace is. That's what harmony is. That moment, that aha moment. So yeah, that's what I'm looking to deliver, just but short, sharp, because I refuse to take up more time than people can even pay.
Well, you're mindful of the time-space reality. That's a very good Capricorn thing, because you understand, like, how can I, what's the Capricorn slogan is really around simplification and being able to the most maximize what you can in this, because we're all flesh and blood and, you know, other stuff too, but how can I make the most out of our apparatus here? And that's time. Capricorn's time. It's like, what can I do to make the most impact with the most people? And it's also about getting rid of all the clutter. When I think of Capricorn, it's like the lone goat, but it's like very peaceful, and that it's able to shut out all the noise. And it's really able to get on top of the mountain and know and be very wise without all the other stuff. And so there's something to that, I think, that's very beautiful and simple, and that doesn't need to be overly complicated. It's the same thing like with meditation. When you quiet your mind, all the other stuff takes away, and then you're really in union with spirit, with sort, you know, the harmony is there.
Yeah.
And it takes on what form it's meant to. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then, bro, the cool thing about harmony is, right, it unlocks imagination like you can't believe, bro. It is the driving force of an entire like building of a universe, any structure, any dimension, is this little label called imagination. It is so insanely powerful, man. Like, you let imagination run wild in harmony, not in chaos. But just imagine that for a second. Do you know what I mean? You would have a Harry Potter world in, like, I don't know, maybe like a Pluto cycle, or maybe like a, you know, Saturn return or something. Bro, like legit, like energy works super fast, like faster than light does. Like way faster than light, way faster than darkness, way faster than all that stuff. But you can't like measure it. It's like, if everyone like agrees to it, do you know what I mean? It can happen like boom, in like this whole world. Like, look at what happened, right? When we all went inside for 3 months around the whole world, how the earth just like cleared energy. It looked beautiful. India could see the Himalayas for the first time in like God knows how many decades. Do you know what I mean? And guess what happened? Everyone was like, oh, that's cool. Let's get back to work. And I was like, bro, if that's not a sign from the universe of how things could work out if we weren't so busy. And everyone's just like, man, that's cool. We'll take a picture. And, all right, that's going to go on Facebook. And, oh, got to get back to work. Let's mess this up again. Like,
yeah. You know, honestly, I vibe a lot with that, because like, first, when I started going down the spiritual path, it was like, I started, you know, you start realizing everything is like, oh shit, everything's really wrong in the world, you know, and you almost want to counteract that. And so like, when I first kind of started going down it, I had all these ideas of what I should be doing and what I should be like, and there's all these, you know, hippie movements and like eco village movements and that stuff. And now I kind of realize, like, instead of following like what the counter movement is to that, I started seeing like, wait, we don't have to go backwards, because everyone's talking, we have to go back to a time where we were not, where everything was right, you know, where things weren't wrong. But I'm seeing like, wait, why are we going backwards? Why are we becoming more primitive? Why can't we just evolve in the future in a creative way that's beautiful in developing our technology in a way that will be in harmony with the universe? So it's like, we're going back to sticks and huts and bamboo, like those that's the fix. No, it's not the fix. It's like we have to just redirect our attention. It's like when we become a creative community and a creative society, it's like literally we could tear down this world in a flash and rebuild it in the most beautiful way, because we have the technology and the ideas and the imagination to do that, to move towards the stars and to be able to create giant high-rise buildings that will not pollute, and giant cities that will not pollute, beautiful cities with like clean energy that harness everything that's around us. And yeah, I mean, that's where I, like, for me, it's always, now it's everything that I've loved has been sci-fi and fantasy. And that's kind of what I want to do, is like, I want to take down these huge spiritual ideas and bring it into fantasy, sci-fi through like comics and movies, because it's like, that's the conditioning we start bringing these people. And you can see it with like the Marvel universe now. It's like all these huge sci-fi extra dimension, like astral projections and like Doctor Strange and everything, and all these really cool things. And you get to see these alien worlds that are in complete harmony because they just decided to do things in a better way. And yeah, I mean, that's where I see humanity evolving, is we have to evolve first within our minds. It's like we have to evolve because most people are still primitive in their understanding of the world, because we're in a primitive understanding where we're destroying everything. And once we evolve and understand like truly because we're so separate from our universe, but we have to realize that the planets, everything we're doing is just part of our own mind.
Yeah, it's like I got like a vision, like as you were like speaking on that stuff, and it also tied into what your Jedi story you were talking about. And you were talking about like technology, bro. The greatest piece of technology on this planet is this thing, bro. Tied in with that Jedi lady. You know how like we cut trees down and whatnot? Bro, who's to say with enough people, you can't actually like grow trees, like some Avatar stuff, or like raise a skyrise out of the ground, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like a whole bunch of people.
I mean, that's what I saw, is that like we grow buildings, we grow clothes. And it's like, but it's like on a level where we can, do that consciously. Cause like the highest aliens that I've connected with, their spacecraft, everything is a part of them. They materialize that spacecraft. And then the lower astral dimensional aliens are the ones who are still building physical things and kind of tearing wormholes through space. And so it's like those higher beings have evolved to a state where they understand the fundamentals of our universe. And through the etheric field, they can create the substituent atoms they have the understanding to generate matter for themselves.
Wow, that's amazing. That's magic. That's my future.
And this is where I want us to go down. Yeah, this is the timeline I want to go down, because there's like literally, so there's technology where we could evolve into transhumanism, where we start implanting chips in our brain, which would connect us to superhuman abilities. We'd be able to connect with the whole internet. But the internet is all knowledge that we've already found, but we've forgotten, the Akashic records, the ether is infinite knowledge, and we have that technology, but as humans, we've forgotten. And so we keep building externally, but like everything we're building is a mirror of what we already have. So we've built the internet, and that's a mirror of our collective consciousness. And it just keeps going on and on.
Yeah.
I love that. And especially with that bro, I have so many things like to teach humanity about energy, right? Because one of my talents is like energetic alchemy, right? Like it's like math to me. Like I wrote something down about mastery. Like mastery is the ability to rebuild something or put back together what you can break down over and over and over and get a different result. Like all the time, right? So I've done that in so many things that I think are important to people, but I will not waste any of my time. Like that's like my stuff that I've done in my time. I want people to first go to Harmony, and then when we get there, then I'll share it, because then it won't. Then everyone can use it. Do you know what I mean? But this, I just don't like this construct of mainstream spiritual people reading a concept, not practicing it, and chucking it in their curriculum and putting another
Yeah.
4 grand on their little high ticket purchase. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just irritating. It's just super irritating. So I'll reserve all of that. You know, like maybe not I could like share with you guys, but probably not like on a recorded message. But yeah, we could dig into heaps of stuff. But I'd gladly
Yeah.
share it with you guys. But as for the
it's
rest
like
of the world,
it's like that conversation you have with a spiritual person where they're literally just saying, oh, I believe this, and it's all like ideals that they've heard or read in New Age material, but they haven't integrated properly. So it's like they're
Yeah.
talking like, this is
Just
my
ideas.
belief, this is who I am. Like I've taken this on, and it's like, oh, here's another egoic structure. Here I believe in harmony, but none of their practices or the way they live actually revolves around that.
Beliefs are hella
Okay.
limiting too.
I jumped into
So-
a lion's den one evening. Like they were sitting down at a table. Dude, to be honest, I was super blazed, man. And we went to my mate's house, and he's like a DJ and stuff. And then there were like all these girls around there, and he was on the barbecue. And for some reason, I was just tuned in. It's like I tapped into the timeline. I was like, Morgan, I'm just about to like light a match in this place. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know. Apparently, I'm gonna light a match in this place. So I walk over to the table, and they're like, oh, who are you? I'm like, oh, I'm Greg and stuff. And I was like, oh, you guys spiritual? And they're like, yeah. And they start laying it on, just like Trey was saying. And like, oh, I believe in this. And I'll give you the question that wrecked them, right? Oh, yeah, that's all good. But do you guys believe yourselves, though?
Okay, so
That's awesome.
I can respect
45 minutes, and they showed me how unspiritual they were.
Yeah. What were you saying? What were you saying, Beck?
So I mean, I respect everyone's like outlook on stuff like that, but then this makes me think about, or this makes me go back to when you said you believe that everyone is equal. Not everyone learns the same way. You know what I mean? Like like people incorporate things. Okay, so people learn backwards sometimes, or people, you know, like when I read 50 Shades of Grey, I could not get into the first book. So instead I read the second, and then I read the third, and then I read the first. I don't know why, but it was better for me that way. But you know, like I'm not saying anybody's wrong, because, you know, perception and perspective are two different things. I can't tell you how to perceive something. I can't tell you what your perspective should be. But, you know, the way I see it is like, just because they can't give you the answer that you want to hear, or you believe the answer should be, doesn't mean that they aren't spiritual. Like the whole idea of being a spiritual person, or being enlightened, or spreading the messages of like sorry, my anxiety is like starting to peak. But the whole, I would think that the whole ideal is to spread positivity, you know? And if we're telling people that they aren't spiritual, or that their beliefs or their actions or whatever, because we don't personally know what they're going through themselves, you know?
You got to
Just because
meet
they don't
people where
want-
they're at.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, not everyone wants to express like what's going on within them, you know?
Well, I mean,
So
And there's stepping stones too to spirituality, right? Like sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. Like everyone here, 100%, like at some point in their lives, and me and Trey have talked about it on our podcast, we talked about it in here, have been like I laugh when I think about myself in my early spiritual days. I was a fucking idiot, and Trey was even worse than me. No, I'm joking. But no, he was. No, but it's just like sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. So like you guys are both right in different ways. So like from Greg's perspective, it's like for someone who would be like, who has gotten past that stage, and they should already be at a place where they can really back their shit up, and they're not just like bullshitting. That's one thing. But then I think also, you know, there should be like space for the person who's getting into spirituality, because sometimes, like, you know, I can definitely say that being, you know, Trey, can you think of an example of something that was like really?
for me, like when I was talking with maybe someone and I kind of was in that like just beginning of the spiritual stage, and I was just like exactly what I said, just spewing kind of things that I'd heard in a very ungrounded way. Like that was literally me. And some people would just listen, and some people would meet me with positivity, but the most transformation that I felt was when someone challenged me, and when someone brought the truth, and they're like, boom, here it is, like, this is exactly what you're doing, you're just like spewing this thing. And that was the most reflective moment for me, was like, oh shit, I'm in an unconscious pattern of thinking again, where I'm just spewing and I haven't really integrated this knowledge. And it's a humbling experience where it's like, oh, okay, like what was the thing you said, Greg, that question that you put in?
Do you believe yourself though?
Yeah, exactly. So when questions are posed to me like that, it's like, oh fuck, like, have I just been an idiot this whole time?
No,
And it's
it makes you
actually,
it makes you doubt yourself though. You know what I mean? Like you can believe in yourself, but then when someone when someone puts a spotlight on that, because everybody has self-doubt, period. Like I have a lot of self-doubt.
It's same.
Fucking straight up the ass, like, right, whatever. Like self-doubt is so strong. You know what I mean? But I can tell okay. Being an empath, I am constantly trying to figure out whose feelings or like where my feelings start and where they start and end, and where somebody else's begins. And it's hard, and all the self-doubt and stuff like that. I'm constantly getting stuck in the middle ground, because I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is real? Am I crazy? Am I this? Am I that? All this shit. And like, sometimes I understand chaos and harmony. Like I get it, because literally I'm yin and yang, but there is order in chaos, and there is chaos in harmony. You know what I mean? Like I get it. I get what you're saying about how there can't be, but like I said, again, it's all about perspective. Like we don't know the path that people go on. They just show you what they want you to see.
Yeah, and it can appear differently to two different people. Like you can just astrology shows like, I see you based on our synastry completely different than someone with like very bad inner aspects would see you, and experience and culture and so many different perspectives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing about perspective and perception.
But I mean, there are people in this spiritual community who you talk to and you just know that it's like a big ego thing. And it's like, and it's just exactly how people are talking. They just want to speak so that they look good or something, and it's just, it's this really ungrounded thing. And sometimes I feel like it is time to be Scorpio in those moments, and it is time to put some doubt, because doubt is reflective. And if you are firm in your steadfastness, and you're firm in where you are, then that doubt isn't going to shake you. But if you are in a place where you're like, actually, was that real? Was this, then it will shake you and put you into a state of reflection. And a lot of people will, like try and counter back or have their feelings hurt. And when someone has their feelings hurt, then you know that, oh, they've taken that personally. So it's an egoic. We're dealing with an ego right now. And so you can see, like, I feel like that's why when some of those, like sometimes Jesse's Scorpio, when I got super like acid fairy kind of spiritual, would help ground me, because like I realized I was just going into this alter ego of acid tray, where everything has to be on this super high Libra acid vibe.
I was nice about it. It was like Scorpio with a hint.
No, yeah, you were nice. You're nice, but some people could like take it in an egoic way where it would like, oh, that's gonna hurt my feelings. But it's like, for me, it was always like, oh yeah, thank you for like putting me, like for bringing me back down.
Yeah.
And there's always evidence of like I've honestly, like, I've hurt people's feelings more than I can, and I don't even mean to. Like I just have conversations. Like I'm just like a true person, I'm
You
just
bring
like,
them to that realization within themselves.
I don't like, I just, whatever's on my heart, I'll ask you. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I want to know. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to, in that moment, like I don't want to know anything else. I don't have an ulterior motive. I don't expect an answer from you. I want to know from you what is your answer? You know, like, because mine would be mine, but I don't go into it like that. And it's amazing to see when, like, blessed or cursed being true, is that when you ask people questions that make them feel a certain way, they throw labels at you. You're in your ego, you're condescending, you're this. And I literally just sit there in like my shield and I'm like, wow, that person's got some stuff to work through. Like, I just asked a question and here I am 45 minutes later, still taking abuse, and what an asshole I am, and I still haven't got an answer. Like, you know, and it's an interesting thing, old truth, like Trey says, but it's always like comes down to like the intention. And I also, coming back to, I don't believe everyone is equal. Do you know what I mean? I said where I come from, where I hail from, equality is it's not even a thought. Like, it doesn't get questioned. It's part of harmony, right? Over here, people aren't, because to assume everyone is equal, it means we're equally sharing the same experience, right?
Hmm.
If we're so disconnected from each other, that's not true. We're not equal. We're not equal. Like the USA, the UK, like all these acronyms, like everything we have are just sentiments and ideals, right? Like, I'm going to be making a video called about the divided states of America and the divided kingdom and the European divide, you know, just like little dumb things, right? To like trigger people, just to help them see what's actually happening, you know? And just little things like that to try and get to the state of like equality, so we can all start having like the same experience. But truth, that golden rainbow arrow, tell you what,
Asshole.
try it out sometime. Try it out sometime.
It's very much like the zodiac sign of Libra, which is the sign of harmony, right? Like balance.
That's my
Because-
Venus in Libra.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that balance is needed, you know? And so I get what you're saying about questioning someone. I agree more with Trey. I feel like I like to be questioned. I have North Node Gemini though. Like, I feel like that's part of, I need to keep questioning myself, and that's healthy.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
like questioning, right? Because there's like two different energies, right? Right, with questioning, right? Questioning is more of like an argumentative stance when you're going through a line of questioning, right? It's like there's an agenda behind it. But I just ask questions. Like, it's not like when I'm going somewhere, I don't know where I'm going. You know, I get there, I meet people for the first time, and they say stuff. And when I'm interested in, like, you know, having a conversation, I just ask a question. It's not like I'm not going there with a line of questioning to get them to say something so that I can, like,
Okay.
you know,
Are
do you know
you
if that makes
are you a reflector in human design?
sense? I'm actually a projector, but I told Aggie, I was like, I believe I'm both. Like, I think I've gone through like this cycle of like both
Yeah.
of.
Okay, that makes sense though too. Yeah, I was gonna go to that next if you didn't say you're a reflector, because it does seem like that when you're triggering someone, it's like that false sense of self. And that's the thing that you're mirroring to them in your sense of self being unwavering. You see what I'm saying? And so that mirror is the thing that causes that trigger, but
Right.
it's really for them. It's just like what I was talking about. Like, a lot of the messages I speak are not for me. It's like,
Yeah.
you're sitting there, you are bringing this message, and you can't
So
help
like
what
my
happens
questions, so
afterwards.
like my
Don't
questions
shoot
are
the
for me.
messenger.
Yeah. So like for you, like the message isn't for you. So like so what you're saying is like my questions like aren't for me type thing. Like, I just ask them and then I just like watch. Is that
Yeah.
what you mean? And then just if it's like violent, just like ignore it. Be like, sorry.
Well, it's realizing too that people have triggers are real. I mean, I think more of us are learning that. I mean, it's a landmine. It's a mind landmine, whatever I'm trying to say out there, minefield out there. And so even with ourselves, and so how do we be very like think about all in the things that have happened in the last year, for example, with just social justice and how much we've learned about I mean, me even more and more, you know, and I thought, you know, I know a lot. No. And then just with trauma that's come up and being able to hear someone else's story and be like, I thought I knew what was going on with you. I work with you every day. We're really close. No, you don't know my experience. And I can't know somebody else's experience or their story. And that's why I feel like it is so important. That's why I really feel like it's funny, like with North Node having gone into Gemini like May of last year, it's like, how do we listen to each other's stories more? And going back to that perspective, like everybody's is so different. And how do we, moving away from this is a solid belief system that is always going to be the truth. And then we try to get rid of anybody who doesn't adhere to that belief. It's more that truth is relative. But you know, how do you hear somebody else's stories? Because it's real for them. You know, whether or not you have experienced it, how do we allow people to tell their stories and then honor that without saying,
Yeah.
you know, the big thing. But
I suppose the only story you'd ever know is your own, to be honest. Like,
You can do it through art. You guys
Yeah.
want to see my art? I'm working on this series of like David, you know, the statue, and it's all like mental health themed kind of shit.
cool.
Yeah, show us. What's your remind us of your Pisces sun. What's the rest of your astrology?
Virgo moon, Virgo rising,
Oh, that's right.
all the other stuff too.
Yeah, I'm just Mars, Mercury, Venus.
So my Mars is Leo, my Mercury is Pisces, and my Venus is Aquarius.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Okay.
Mika.
This is all created through chaos, by the way. I have that. That's watercolor.
oh,
You move it. Maybe move it back a tiny bit. The camera.
Yeah.
Oh, that's intense.
Ooh. That's sadness.
Is it like kind of in a shadow or shame almost?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
shame.
mean, art's interpretational.
Yeah, it is. Wow, that's
Wait.
real.
That's really amazing. The drawing on the face.
Yeah, that was like
Wow.
5 minutes. So that's
Damn,
with
you
water.
got some talent.
Yeah, that's
That's that Pisces talent.
Dude, I've only been doing art since like October 2019.
wow.
Doesn't look like it. Oh shit! Wait, that one is really dope. Can you back up a little bit?
Yeah. hold on.
I'm not even just saying this because this is kind of like, I really like this color. Wow. Ooh la la la.
Okay. And so do you guys want me to interpret it for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Or we could try.
Okay. Well, it's up to you. So there's that.
But you have to move the camera. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Like it's listening into another world
Okay.
of sorts, or
So the whole idea behind this is it's David, but instead of those little crowns that they wear with the leaves, it's Medusa's snakes. And so, you know, they're in the color of blue because blue represents emotion. So this is like when your damage starts to make you paranoid and stuff like that, you know, like you start to believe things just because you're scared of getting hurt again.
Yeah.
And so if you see,
it's very Neptunian.
yeah, and so if you see here, it's supposed to be like green, red, and blue because that's like your earth, your fire, and your water mixing into the snake. And then I have this one.
Oh shit.
So apparently it's a David statue. It's kind of abstract and he has like 8 eyes. But the question is, am I still David? And so this represents like when you go through trauma, you look at everything through a different kind of like viewpoint. You know, and so the whole question, am I still David, is like, am I still the same person before the trauma happened?
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Yeah. And that's my
So
COVID
interesting.
piece.
Can you zoom in
Yeah,
Pick
it's
it up.
beautiful.
Yeah, you're really good. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
There's like so much.
Really
This took
good.
me like a whole month and a half.
What did you use for that media? Like, what is the background and the paint?
For the COVID one,
Yeah.
I was all markers.
Okay, use markers. Oh yeah, I like that. It's pretty.
It's a lot of like stippling, like dot work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's very Venus, Neptune, just like Jesse said. That's like therapy for you.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah, like okay, so one thing that I've learned is I understand the whole concept of meditating, where you're supposed to sit quietly, not move or anything like that. But when I do art, it's like I meditate. So that's why I point out the whole like unconventional learning kind of thing.
That's more of like the feminine way of being in the flow of art. And that's more Piscean and Venus. That's what I'm saying, Venus, versus like, because like the feminine is constantly changing and moving, right? Like the cycles of the moon and our periods and whatnot, like constantly changing and moving. But the sun is a constant. So the masculine is still,
Mhm.
There's a difference in that. And so that's just you like identifying more with that release. You know what I mean? So there's no like wrong way to do it or like you should do it differently. Just do what feels natural to you. And that's just your natural way of expression, and,
Yeah,
and
no.
being able to connect to spirit. Like that's the main thing is connecting to spirit. It
Yeah,
doesn't
because-
matter how you get there.
Like I've had someone tell me like, well, you're not really doing it because that's not how you're supposed to do it, So I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, but this is how I do it because I still come to the same like thought process and stuff like that, So if you felt like I was attacking you, Greg, my bad, my bad.
No, not at all. I was just cracking up at how someone who's not like Buddha is telling you how. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, like you're
That's
not
like one of the things that people
connecting
says
right. Yeah,
that
that's why I added that at the end. Like there's no wrong way to do it, because
Yeah.
some people can come across as like, oh, there's only one way to do it, or especially when we start talking about dichotomy, like masculine and feminine, then there's always we're picking sides. Then once we, put some, competition in there and add two different concepts, but no, there's no
Yeah.
wrong way to do it. It's all about just what feels right for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what
Yeah.
I have learned more on my spiritual journey is that at the very beginning, I was so distracted with, oh, I need these tools, or oh, I need these books, or oh, I need this, or oh, I need that. And you don't, like, you need this. That's what you need. You need yourself. Like
Yeah.
all of those other things are like piggybacking on what Trey said, like they're just expressions of what's already going on in here. And they're a way to get you in that space, but you can do it at any time because this is what's the most important thing. So
Yep, I agree.
and it's all individual, like whatever works for you. That's why I'm against any of the practices that are like this is the only way. Like no, everybody
Yeah.
gets there in a different way and everyone has their own journey. That's the beautiful part of it all, is that there's no two lifetimes that are the same.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up with the old masculine thing because it makes sense. Like how my love language is time, and I really just enjoy stillness. Like I just had like a realization, like masculine way is stillness, and then I guess the feminine way is like flow or like channeling. I guess inner chaos or trying to channel it out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I realized that I fluctuate between two because I like to sit outside and just do nothing or just be still and just stay my time. And then all of a sudden, I'll get inspiration. I'll be like watching Netflix or something, and there'll be like a line in like episode 30 that I've been watching, and it'll just be like a line, and I'll have to stop and just like your art, I'll just have to.
Well, that's your Venus too, right? Because your Venus is in Libra.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I like that you brought that up, Kendra. That was amazing. Just brought more clarity as to like why my days are like they are.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it's a balance thing. That's why you're able to like keep that harmony, because you're
Yeah.
balancing the self and the expressions of the self and in very fluid ways where you're not one side or the other or battling between the two, but just letting one take over when the other one's done. And like that's
Yeah.
that's the best way to explain harmony, I feel like, of the self, because we all have masculine and feminine sides to ourselves, but to be able to like go between the two without there being a competition is
Yeah, yeah,
a very fine line, so
yeah,
there's a fine
absolutely.
line that you walk. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I don't like those, like, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight or anything like that, or been like offended or like legit ready to like absolutely murk someone, right? But I go from like harmony, right? And then there's the other side, chaos. Like I can watch a video and it will trigger me. And it's the same, like for me, it's just like when I'm about to like get into like when I used to, like when I was about to get into a fight, I used to be like, I hate this feeling. Let's get it done. Like, can we get this over with? Type
I
thing.
feel like that's the feminine, because that chaos is that connection that makes us still a creature of the earth. Like we still have that
Yeah.
animal instinct, and so it comes out in that way
Yeah,
to
and I don't
remind
like it.
you that you're a
I don't
physical
like it.
thing too,
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely don't like it at all. Because when that happens, I have to catch myself from going down a trap of like ego. Do you know what I mean? Because you can get consumed by chaos quite quick.
Yeah.
It's potent, right? And then also like the conversations I have like with the universe and stuff, I tend to like when I'm triggered by something, I tend to flex on a spiritual level, like to the universe, or if I'm feeling an energy of like disrespect or whatever like that. And there's like the power game, like I tend to like peacock and like show my cards to like the energies who reckon they can do a spiritual war, so I get into like that zone and then I realize I'm like, oh my god, nope, phones away, go sit outside, go do, bro, we need to come back, we need to come, because I'll head off and I'll ruin my day for like 6 hours.
Yo, unrelated, by the way, guys, I just realized we've been going 2 hours, 45 minutes. So I wanted to just make sure we got to, like, if there's anyone else that wanted to kind of give their lowdown on everything career. I know we kind of went into the Piscean tangents, but if there's anyone else who kind of wants to jump in, it's already like pretty late here. Go ahead.
Dave, what have you been doing? Or who was talking? Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, so I mean, I think for me, one of the big things is I definitely resonate more and more. I do the whole career thing and got a corporate job, as you guys know, but then started doing more and more of the readings on the side. And I really see myself as a connector and connecting with lots of people. I find a lot of satisfaction in that, but in an Aquarian way. Like I do really want to have my tribe where I connect with like-minded folks, but then also be able to connect with other people as well. And so I'm not exactly sure what that'll look like. I mean, I think as of late, the corporate kind of life, it has afforded me, and I've got a job in learning and development where I get to teach, which I love. And I really can be a presence that comes on and can really help I can bring my energy out to people without necessarily like a spiritual message, as it were. But really, what is a spiritual message? It isn't necessarily words, right? It's other stuff too. So I'm really trying to look at what those next steps would entail. And I think for me, a lot of it is around how do I help people to know their power and honor that, and honor in an Aquarian way their individuality, and really be okay with that, right? Whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever your heritage, whatever your background, that's great. But how do you really stand out, and then also stand out but add to the collective? Because at the end of the day, you're not a standalone, right? You are part of something bigger. So I don't know exactly what that will be, but I really am hoping that I can bring forth kind of some of my talents around organization, international with the languages I speak, to be able to really kind of orchestrate something that's really helpful, you know, that really helps people to ultimately feel like you're one crayon in the crayon box of so many beautiful colors, and how do you just get that onto the canvas and be part of, you know, this great creation that we're a part of, whatever that might be. But I do realize right now people are going through a lot of people are having to like break a lot of their self-imposed, in some cases, shackles, in some cases not, they're from society. And so how do we help people to free themselves from that so we can be fully functioning and have these kind of conversations like we are here, and not feel threatened and feel loved,
So
you know? So
I feel like the way you could start like getting through to people is you would have to adapt to them, because people will only have a breakthrough unless if it's catered specifically to them. Like when I meet someone, I don't know what it is and I don't know how I can tell, but it's like I can tell how to approach, you know, like what to say, like how to put the tone, like how to convey the tone behind it, you know, and it works to where they end up telling me like all their shit, like here, emotional dump, you know?
right, kind of like kind of adapt to the
Exactly.
person and be able to speak
But-
their language.
But yeah, Dave, what I like pick up from you, bro, like I feel
Hello.
like do you have Scorpio in your chart, bro? At all?
Yeah.
He is a
Yeah.
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Oh, you are Scorpio, bro. I watch you. You do a lot. Like this is the most I've spoken in like I don't know, like maybe 3 years. Do you know what I mean? But you're so perceptive. Do you know what I mean? Like you do the same. You do the Scorpio thing. You see what's appropriate. Do you know what I mean? Like you've done it the whole day. Do you know what I mean? So for you, it's amazing. I think your superpower would be to show evidence of connection. Do you know what I mean? Just by being yourself.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And the thing that people really, really need is connection in a world that's so disconnected, right? Just even doing what you do by being who you are, bro. That's gonna be like, doesn't matter what you do, bro. It's gonna be gold.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a very nice compliment. Just kind of showing up, and it should have been getting more of just hold the space, right? It's less words sometimes. It's more presence. It's more that just hold that energetic presence for someone, and that's huge, right? And so
It is.
Yeah. You're
And-
a pro at that. That is a Scorpio thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dave, really quickly, what's your date of birth? I don't have your birth data somehow. I want to look at your
yeah,
chart. Your date and time.
yeah, 10/29/73, and
October 29, 1973. Okay. And time?
6:35 a.m. Lawton, Oklahoma.
Lawton,
That's
Lawton.
it. Yeah.
I thought I had it. Oklahoma. Okay. Yeah. For you, I just see like that mix. So you're a Scorpio rising too?
Scorpio
1 degree
rising,
Scorpio
1
rising.
degree. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your sun in the first house in Scorpio. So you're an embodiment of Scorpio energy, but you're really like the thing that, so when I look at your chart or just feel your energy, I think of this second house, this Sag second house energy of like this grounded expansiveness. So it's like, it's not like this fucking Sag energy that just like, you know, I guess kind of like me sometimes, or just like, you know, like way too much expansiveness. It's very, or I guess how it used to be. It's very like grounded and secure, and you're able to like really, people are really able to trust you. You have a very trustworthy energy, and it's proven. You know, you're very authentic. So I think that in itself, regardless of what you do, is going to take you far. And my intuition, this is pure intuition, is that there's going to be a lot of fate especially in terms of, and do you have anything in the seventh house? I guess your Mars is right there, but there's going to be like a lot of fate and like people who come into your life who really help you in your career and moving in directions. Like this is like one example. You know, you just found me on Instagram. You actually reached out to me. I guess a lot of you guys did, but we talked and we bonded right away. That's one example. I think you're gonna meet like tons of people who are gonna help you kind of move into this direction where you know, I know the feeling of being corporate America and also being a spiritual person. And I think that you have to have, I don't even know if you have any anxiety of like, or not fear, but like any like kind of like confusion. How is that going to work out? How is it going to work out? But I know it is. It's just like, it's kind of part of like the way God works, the way the universe works, is to not make it so obvious right now. But I think that you continue to work hard, you continue to do what you have to do. A lot of doors, very beautiful karmic doors are going to open up, and you're going to take the opportunities, and it's going to lead you. Yeah, I definitely see you like in Peru and different places like that. And yeah, I just keep grinding, and things are going to happen for you.
Thank you, Jesse. No, thank you guys. It's yeah, there is kind of sometimes that anxiety, but like you were saying before, Kendra, it's like we're meant to be where we are, right? Like there is no shame in being anywhere. It's all part of the lovely journey. And so how can we soak up whatever we're doing right now and be of benefit to others and ourselves? And timing is perfect, right? I mean,
Yeah. I feel like you've been so busy lately because it's like amping you up for something else. And I honestly keep, every time I look at your chart, I keep like glaring at that Mars in Taurus because of Uranus. Like I just am like, man, he's gonna like, there's gonna be so many connections, you know, like that Uranus energy in Taurus, and that like the drive and just that combination in general that Jesse was talking about with you, how it's like that groundedness, like that is so that Mars and Taurus. And I feel like that's gonna be your connection. Like that's gonna be like where your connections start just going crazy, like you know, the internet, like Uranus energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
And really quickly, you're single. Are you single right now?
I'm single, but I have the Venus Time Lord this year.
Yeah, he's got the
Like,
Venus Time Lord.
This is pure intuition. Pure intuition. I'm not saying you're gonna meet someone tomorrow, but like the two things that came to me, that was like one that came up right away, and I was like, I wanted to see if you had something in the 7th house or a transit. Yeah, you have fucking Uranus transiting your 7th house. So yeah, that's something that came to me. I don't know what it means, but I do see like maybe like a potential, like I feel like you're very patient in that area of life and you're doing things the right way. And I think that it's going to pay off with some luck. So
yeah.
I like that idea. I see Uranus as like, I mean, in the last year with the connections with people that were like the standard Taurus run of the mill. Now it's like, no, you're getting the upgrade of different people, you know, much like you all here, to be able to connect with. And that's really fun. You know, that's really cool. So I feel very blessed in that regard. So
yeah, I think it's just gonna keep going.
Yeah, and keep putting yourself out there on Instagram, online. Like keep pushing, because that's another way that you're gonna attract people. And yeah,
I appreciate that, guys. I do. Yeah, I've been really busy with work, and it's been a struggle between where do you put your energies into, and we've got a new director I'm working with, and it's always like, how do I align with the new person? But she's actually really cool. I'm like, after I had the breakthrough recently of how do I work with this person, idea fountain, like I was able to kind of, she's really going to do actually some really helpful things for my career to get me out there more, which I think is exciting. But I do want to honor the part of me that's done a lot of stuff in the, you know, kind of online space too, because it's important. It's reaching that larger network of people. So thank you all.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're muted.
I was just saying, like, yeah, like I don't have like it needs to be a 3-hour thing. Like it's just like around like the 2:45 mark, I'll probably like start to like tell people this is where we're at. But anyone else you know, want to share? And also like one other thing is like, if you guys want to keep going, because I don't go to bed right after So like if there can be situations like if you guys like on a roll and I'm just like, okay, I want to dip off and like kind of start to do the things I do before bed, like we can always keep the meeting going with me just kind of like, so it doesn't have to end right when I say, I guess we're saying.
Right.
So
I'm
yeah.
always down to chill.
Anyone else?
Yeah, kind of. I'm like in a place where I'm
Talk, Gabby.
figuring
Talk,
it out.
Gabby.
Well, I'm just figuring it out. Well, I've been thinking about things. I think ultimately what I want to be doing, I mean, one is healing, like helping other people heal themselves through like, I guess leading by example, but I've really been sitting into it a lot more. Like I really want to create. And I feel like that's a huge thing for me because like that's the biggest part of me that's been like suppressed, whether by myself or by other people. Like I've got a very creative mind, but at this point, I've got very little creative outlets. Since August, actually, I've been thinking about going back to school to do like screen arts. So like learning how to like create films and stuff like that, which for me is another thing like connecting me back to my childhood because like that's something I've always wanted to do, but it was always too unrealistic or whatever, and I'm in a place now where it's like I do have a diploma in another course that I could always fall back on, and it's like I'm not taking like I don't want to take this course to be like, oh, I'm going to be a famous director or a movie writer or whatever. It's like I want to do it because I fucking want to do it. Like, and I feel like going through that will help me like connect to that part of myself, I guess. But I don't know. And I feel like that will also help me like with the writing because like you keep saying like, I should be writing, but I have a disconnect. It's like I get inspiration and before I can either type it or write it out, I like freeze and then I go blank. So, it's
It's
I'm,
a
like,
healing
somewhere-
process. It's a healing
Exactly.
process. You'll get your expression back.
Mhm.
You've
Yup.
spent so many years staunching your expression that's something that takes time.
Oh, absolutely. And like that shit's been like snuffed out since I was a child. So like I had a very like my dad was military, very like left-brained, very like things have to be this way and blah 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 blah. Like there has to be this kind of order and like creativity, you're wasting your fucking life. Like, I remember, for example, like not to be all like woe is me, but like my brother was always like they always put him in sports. They like anything he wanted to do extracurricular, they were like, yeah, sure. Like they had him in hockey. And I was like, hey, like, do you guys think you could put me in acting classes? Well, then it's like, excuse, like every reason to not put me in the fucking things that I wanted to do. But if I was like, hey, I want to play a sport, they're like, here you go. Like, I fucking hated sports. Like, I just played them because it was the only extracurricular I was allowed to do. So, I kind of lost touch with my creative side. And then it's like, through being so like snuffed out, it got to the point, and even still, like when I find myself into like I start getting into that flow of creativity, I stop myself. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, and it's like, no, like you can't do this. And then I get super insecure and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe I just said that, and now I'm gonna think about this for 3 months in horror. Like,
Yeah, that's the programming. And so you just got to separate and be the observer. When that happens, watch yourself. You just observe. You're like, why am I acting so strangely to this? Like that's when you have to like stop and question yourself and then say, wait, it's because I'm trying to stop that expression. I'm trying to stop myself from anything that could happen because I don't trust myself. It comes back to that you don't trust yourself. You have been told that was dumb, that was whatever, and you programmed yourself to believe that nonsense too. When everybody's different, everybody's gonna like what they like. Like, if you feel inspired to do this, that, or another, it shouldn't matter what the label is,
Exactly.
What your heart feels.
Well, I noticed I kind of had one of those moments last night because like singing was another one. And it's like, to me, I'm still like, no, like I sound like you put a bunch of cats in a pillowcase and beat it with a bat. Like it's not good, but like even yesterday I was like sitting there, like I was home by myself and I was like singing along with the song or whatever, like actually out loud singing. And then I like froze and I got like my face got really warm. I got super embarrassed and like, I don't know, I was just like super humiliated. And then I had that moment where I was like, why do I feel like this? Like I am here by myself. Like I don't need to be so fucking judgmental. Like I wouldn't ever judge anybody else. So like, why am I doing it to myself? Like, but it was kind of cool to kind of be at that place where I finally had that moment, and then I continued to sing anyway, which in the past I would like realize that I was singing and then get embarrassed and then just stop, you know. So
Yeah, you just got to
progress.
catch it multiple. Like it just takes more reinforcement that that's not true and what you
Mhm,
feel is true. Like what you feel in your heart is true.
mhm,
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
sorry. Okay, so one thing that I think would help you, because you said you want to write, right?
mhm.
So, okay, so because you said healing and you said you want to write, but you lose that inspiration or that motivation to do it. So like one thing you could do is start doing like a kind of like shadow journals, but like like you write all the prompts and shit like that. But like what I do, because I write, so I have like a whole bunch of like shadow prompts that I use, but then I adjust it to me,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like okay, so one that I wrote myself was like, what's your biggest trigger, but what's the smallest detail you can remember about it?
Mhm.
Because I pay attention to the small things, or like the small details in a lot of things. And so by doing that, it's making me go deeper into that trauma,
Mhm.
into that trigger, and then understanding it more, more and more. Because when you pay attention to the small things, like it's easier to identify bigger things, but from different perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because like you have that whole thing where you're constantly going back and forth between I shouldn't express, I should be grounded, whatever, like whatever your thought process is, you're still doing something where it's creating, but there's still like a like physical like evidence of being grounded.
Mhm.
Because sometimes perception is reality, like sometimes you need to see something that's grounding, like earth things,
Yeah.
and
Fair enough.
yeah, and the prompts, you get to choose whichever one you do, so you can pick what you do, so that inspiration is there.
Yeah, I actually
And
have a book. I forget what it's called. Maybe like the Writer's Way. Maybe, I don't know. But it's like one. You're supposed to do morning pages every day. I did it for like a week, and then it's been in my closet since. But that's another thing I find. Like I start something, and I'm like so motivated, and then I'm like, now I'm gonna do this. Now I'm gonna do that. Now I'm gonna do this. But like I've got
that's because,
so much
yeah,
air.
but that's because, but the way I see it is because it's like, well, you have to do it because it's like it's set, like it's like someone giving it could be a trigger response because your dad telling you that you have to be this, you have to be that, so that's why
Yeah.
you have that initial motivation and inspiration to do it, is because, oh yeah, I fuck with this, hell yeah. But then when you see that it's a routine, you're like, fuck you, dad.
Yeah,
know?
right.
I'm gonna
Well,
follow
I'm
yeah,
also like super Aquarius too, so like routine and shit like that is
you don't
not
like it.
like
Yeah, exactly.
it's tough.
Um,
And even
I
my
gotta-
Saturn's Aquarius too, so like my one that's like, yeah, let's do the things and the orders is still like, "Whoa!" Like,
Dude, mine is in fucking Pisces, okay, so yeah,
yeah.
it's not
I
fun.
was gonna say, Gabby, like the whole what Beck's saying is like the writing, the part that's physical, like your
Mhm.
body's doing it, is getting that out of your inner. Like every time you physically do something, it's an expression of stuff going on the inside. Remember, like everything in the physical world is like reflected. So
Mhm.
doing it in a physical way is like like a release for your physical body, if that makes
Mhm.
sense, because we hold all these like things that affect us, us until we just like release it and let it
Yeah.
go, and so that's part of it, is like repetition on that thing that makes you uncomfortable. It's not fun work, it's not work that you're going to probably like, you're probably going to keep feeling that resistance till you break
Yep.
through that
Mhm.
resistance and start doing, you know what I mean, and like just
Yeah.
whatever comes out, just make whatever, like
Yeah.
until it comes to some kind of structure in
Mhm.
your life, because of the whole Aquarius like being all over the place. Even if it's not writing, like drawing something or
Mhm.
painting something or making music or listening to music and then trying to like teach yourself music, or by ear, not like
Yeah. Oh, that's how I usually fuck with music anyway.
yeah, like connecting in those ways will, this is like throat chakra stuff. That's why you said the singing thing, like stopping, that is such an expression of what's going on inside of you. Like your
Mhm.
voice is not able to come out. It's like Little Mermaid,
Yeah, it literally feels like that. I always like when you say that, it reminds me of, I think I was in grade 8 and I was auditioning for the school play, which was Annie, but Annie Junior, because we were grade 8. And I was at the audition and they were like, okay, now sing. And then I just went, and then burst into tears. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. So they're like, okay, you can be in the background. Like,
Yeah, because you were already showing expressions of that, like being shut down, you
Mhm.
know, like that was your response to being put on the spot to have your voice be heard.
yeah.
Your voice is always heard.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Your voice is always heard, even if it's by one person or by 50 people. And whether they like it or not is their
Yeah.
problem.
See,
You
but
know,
then I
like
get
your
insecure
voice
about
should be
that.
heard. Yes.
I like what you have to say, Gabby. I was looking back at your chart and I was like, oh yeah, Chiron and Cancer. And
Mhm.
and what I think about, so I resonate a little bit with this because I have Saturn in Cancer, so I feel the wound of Cancer.
Mhm.
And the wound of Cancer is, and going to Moon, right? I'm making the connection with your Time Lord, is like when you have the wounds of like not feeling secure in that homey way of Cancer, it's hard to get to the Leo expression, right?
Mhm.
You don't feel secure, like you don't have that homey nest of, you know, there's little mom and take, or parent or whoever that is taking care of the little chickadee and then let chick or whatever chick, and then it goes off and it feels comfortable. And so if you feel that, that's kind of almost maybe like the monkey on your back. I know it is for me. Like I've had to be like, damn it, here I am again in my not feeling good enough stage. And I am good enough, but I don't feel like that is solid enough where
Mhm.
but your heart is yearning to express, right? It's still like, but I know this is where I should be and I should be out there. And like with your Jupiter and Leo, like expressing and being able to
Mhm.
kind of someone who sees what I'm, you know, all that kind of great high level expression of Leo. But it's hard if you feel like, well, I didn't get the Cancer stuff and, you know, the
Mhm.
security, right? Because ideally we feel secure. Cancer in the stage of the zodiac gives us the healthy sense of self. Sometimes people think, oh, that's all Leo, but actually it's before Leo. Like Cancer, if that makes sense, like it gives
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
team and you feel secure and all that kind of stuff, and then you can go into the world and be like, start your stuff, right? But if you
Mhm.
feel like, oh man, well at home and with Chiron in that, and so what I'm getting to is I feel like you are such a great like advocate. I mean, you know this about yourself, but I always feel like with Chiron, the way I've worked through my Chiron stuff is I will go to those people that suffer that kind of thing too. Like, and because you're such a great advocate, this would be so easy for you to do, is be like, I hear you, I see you, and I want, you know, like kind of like
Mhm.
reverse psychology thing.
Well,
And
that's
I
what I do with people.
with people, I'm sure you're great at it because like you're the person that I'm gonna be like, I want to go hang out with cool Gabby because she's not the type of person that's like, you need to do it this way, you need to do it this way. And I just feel like you being able to create whatever you do, which you could do so many different things, you're so talented, you could create kind of this family of sorts, you know, like that will really be nourishing to you as well in your healing process, I think.
Mhm.
Kind of takes you out of the, it's like for me at least, I don't know if this will work for you, but it takes you out of the picture. You're less self-conscious when we're helping other people.
Yeah,
And then
that's usually where I thrive.
you thrive. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I've always been that person. I was actually thinking about that. It's funny you bring it up because it was within the last couple of days because I've been like asking myself, like, how the fuck is my Chiron manifesting? And then I was like, it kind of hit me at one point that like I always like kind of reassure people before they even say something in a certain situation. And then I was like, that's it, like right there, because it's like, I'm like, don't be self-conscious about this, or this, because like I'm not thinking, like, don't worry, I'm not judging you or whatever. And it's like they're like, oh my god, like, you know, and they realize that, oh wow, I was worried about that, but like thank you for saying that, because like now I'm not anxious about it. And then I was like, that's it right there, because it's like that's what I need people to say to me, but I never hear it. So it's like I am that person for other people, like you know,
Yeah.
I need that reassurance, not that it's like necessarily a like validation kind of thing, but it's like, I don't know, like I've always been more self-validating in a way, but then with that comes like other things, because then it's like now it's only my own narrative in my head, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm thinking this, but maybe I'm just annoying the piss out of these people. Like that's another huge thing. I always think I'm fucking annoying people. Like whether I'm helping them, whether I'm just like noticing something, whether I'm complimenting them, I'm like, oh my God, that was so fucking awkward. Like this person probably thinks I'm nuts. Like it's a struggle.
That's your Mars and Gemini
Yeah.
too coming out. Like, yeah, you always feel like you're pestering the other like a sibling. Like,
Yeah,
the
well, this is
Gemini
it. And
way.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And like, I'm also one of those people that is like so conscious of like energy exchanges that I'm like, am I overstepping my boundaries? Like, am I being thoughtless? Like, am I taking too much of your energy? Like, you know, and I just feel guilty about it.
Well, I mean, Jupiter and Leo, you know, maybe early in life, your Leo energy, I guess, was
Mhm.
frowned upon in some sense. That like exuberant, like expansive Leo energy, kind of like you're talking about with your parents. So maybe that kind of leads to some of that behavior, I guess, or some of those tendencies.
That would make sense because my Jupiter's retrograde too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember we went over the dates when it goes direct by progression?
Yeah, it was
I
in
gave
my
you the
50s.
years. I was like, make sure, pay attention this whole year of your life. It's going
Yeah.
direct. Like you
Yeah.
have a couple planets that are going to go direct in your lifetime. So
Yeah, because I
those
think
are,
my
like,
Chiron's
leveling up.
retrograde too. I think
Mhm.
it's like my Jupiter and my Chiron are both retrograde.
Yeah.
It's fun. So much fun. Like,
You'll be able to expand your expression though more. I feel like once it does go direct, you'll have been healed finally, you know?
bro,
you're
that's like
healing.
20 something years from now. I have to live like this for another 20 something years.
It's a life journey, darling.
God damn
You
it.
know, how many years were you reinforcing that what you said didn't matter? How many years have you been doing that?
Well, I'm 30 now, and it probably started when I first started talking, which was like, well, before I could even form words, I was making noise. So my family calls me Gabby Gabrielle for a reason. Like,
You're supposed to be Gabby, just like
Yeah.
Chanel's a channel. Like your
Yeah.
name is powerful in that way.
It's funny though, because like on the inside, I'm so fucking introverted. I babble and ramble because I'm anxious. Like
That will come with time.
I'm one of those people. It's like if I'm in a room with people and it's just quiet, I start saying really stupid shit because then my brain just like we gotta break up this silence because like I'm starting to feel other people's shit and like I don't know what's what. So then I just verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, that's that Aquarius energy. Like it just doesn't have an outlet sometimes. That's why it's real important for you to get an outlet, like
Mhm.
with the writing or with the speaking or with the, the singing or any of that kind of stuff, so you can stabilize yourself and be in silence and be okay in silence. Be
Yeah.
okay anywhere in any situation because you're good with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think too, Gabby, like the part I really admire about you, and I admire a lot of things about you, is just that really solid Aquarius vibe. Is like, I want more people like you in the world that might feel awkward out there the way it is, because it's probably not the best it could be. You know what I mean? Like you, Aquarius energy comes in with like living like eons ahead of time and realizing that folks, we've got to be more honoring of the individual. And I just really feel like if you do feel awkward, which we all feel the social pressure to conform, but there is part of you that you came in knowing that I will stand out, I will not be able to conform physically, mentally, whatever. And that's a necessary catalyst for the evolution of the species. And so it can feel lonely though sometimes.
Yeah.
Right, but at the same time, I think that's your superpower. If we're talking superpowers, I think you're the one who I'm like, thank God. So very likable. It's not like, I don't think you're one of those people aren't likable, but I do feel like I guess my message is, if you ever feel like I don't quite fit in, like, thank God. Like, I mean, like, really, like,
Yeah,
seriously,
there
I
needs
mean,
to be more people that don't fit
Yeah.
in, and you make it so likable. Like Dave said, like no
Aw.
one is looking at you like, oh, she's so awkward. But like it's a
See what I am.
You
I
are.
know. So you need to
Well-
start observing, like through the eyes of others, because like we see you as a genuine person, and you always start with, "I feel awkward." So like you start with, you tell people up front, which a lot of people don't do. They're just like, awkward.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything. Like, that's awkward. You're like, I'm so awkward.
Yup.
Like, no, you're
Yeah.
not.
Terms and
like,
conditions up front.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
conditions up
Well, this is
front.
it. Just tell everyone, and they know what they're signing up for, and then nothing falls back on me. Like, I fucking told you, bruh. Like, I don't know what more you want from me. I come with a
I
warning
told
label.
you better be down with some awkwardness.
Right? My favorite thing is like, let's get weird, guys. Like,
But those are real moments. Like,
suppose-
the awkward stuff is real, you know?
Real. It's so real.
I suppose it's like it's the best lead in like in sales, right? Because what would happen is if you say I'm awkward and you speak for ages and they're like, well, this is awkward, you'd be like, oh, I fucking told you.
exactly. Well, did I say that I was normal and well-spoken? No. I'm gonna like jump all over the place before we get to the fucking point, but I promise I'll get there. Just don't interrupt me or you're gonna derail my train and then I'm gonna fucking forget. So like,
Oh, see that humor too. That humor is priceless. Like
I
that.
know. I've told you, you should be a comedian. That might be
man,
the
I would love to
cathartic.
be a comedian. Like
Your
that is
throat
always kind of
chakra.
like, but there's still too much fucking like, there's too much structure in being a comedian because I don't like comedy that's scripted. And it's like being a stand-up comedian means you need to fucking like plan this shit out. And then you have to fucking travel around and like say the same thing over and over again. And then it like loses its humor. Like it's not as
Yeah.
fucking candid. Like
But you could have your own Aquarian. Like this is kind of what I was saying with my stuff, like my career with like finding my own Aquarian version of like travel vlogging or something that already exists. Like like having your own creative. Like maybe you like make like little like skits or takes or reactions. I don't fucking know, something that's like your own version of something that already exists. Like
sketch
like
comedy.
maybe yeah, like
Yeah.
like take a look at things that you find funny, that you find entertaining, and think like, how could I do that better? How could I make that funnier?
Amazing. That's a really good advice.
Yeah, and I feel like because it's so Uranus energy, I know what you're talking about, how it comes and goes. Like it comes and goes. And so you could do skits where they are impromptu. Because a lot of skits people, they think that that's like method acting, right? Like you just go with the flow. Like this is what we're doing today. And you just like impromptu do stuff, because then you would be in that flow and it would be a creative, dramatic, theater arts expression, like what you were talking about, like doing drama school.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. Like, I feel like improv was one of my favorite like parts of drama class in school. Like when we were doing improv, like I was fucking on that shit. Like
Yeah.
it was one of my favorite things. And like the same thing, like everybody would be like crying. They were laughing so hard. And then I'd just be like, still feeling awkward, but at least I was in my element. So
Yeah, because you're witty
Also-
and it's like it comes quick. It's like quick one-liner, witty comeback type
Right.
situations, and
a lot of time it's inappropriate though. So I have to be like,
gauge your
swallow
audience.
So regardless of what you do, you can use humor in it. If you're making content or videos, you can use humor, like even like little hints of humor. People like that, and it's cool. But I just think like once you said what did you say you were thinking about studying screen
arts.
designing screen
Study
art?
screen
Right
arts.
when you said that, I was like, fuck yeah. I just think that like you've grown a lot since you like kind of started. I don't know if it was from Cosmos or before Cosmos. I don't really know what you were doing before, but like I've seen you grow a lot since you've been in here. Like you're one of the most dedicated people to this, and you're really working on yourself. So I feel like you're kind of in this stage where I do feel like the next move you make, I feel like you understand the contingencies, like like what could go wrong, and you're hard on yourself, but I feel like you're prepared for whatever the fuck it is. And I think you just need to fucking do it, and like sometimes things seem really hard and difficult. Like I hate to use myself for an example, but it's just easy. Like I had to write this like really difficult paper for my dissertation, like the worst thing ever. It was like like so long, like all different sources, like so many different sources, just such boring shit, you know. Basically like I'm not gonna get into it, but like I did it, you know, and it took a long time, a lot of effort. It was so foreign, but the fact that I did it gave me the confidence of like, okay, well, maybe it's not that bad. So it's like we all, and this goes to everyone, like we all have these things in our mind that like we can't do, you know. I can't do this. It's too much, because we think of it like this big mountain. But really, if you start to take like the big mountain and break it down, I said so many times, to like lots of small little mini hills instead of like the big Everest, it gets a lot easier. And just know that you can do it, you know. Whatever it is, if you need a tutor, if you need someone to help you, just you be resourceful. And you know, a lot of people give the impression that shit comes easy to them, and granted, you know, some people are talented, like you know, some people have natural talents at different things, but like most people sucked at everything, nearly everything they've done at one point. They just don't show it, you know, because when in that period of sucking, they're not really going out there. When when I was learning Romanian at the start, I wasn't like really showing my Romanian or, you know, whatever. So it's just I hope you hear those pieces of advice, because I think that you're hard on yourself, but you have to realize that, like, you know, everything's a process. I think the next thing you start, whatever it is, will be a success.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Very motivating.
Great advice.
Yes.
You have Saturn
Wait, did I just join?
house too.
Am I joining on 2 places? What the fuck?
Oh, you are.
Oh, what?
This is trippy.
It was even more trippy because at
Whatever.
first it said Trey's name and then it was your picture.
Right.
Wait, no, Trey did that. Trey did that.
Okay.
Little prankster. Oh,
Oh my god, that
Speaking of prankster, I used to have a prank club when I was in like grade 5. I started a prank club because I thought I was so fucking cool.
See, that's more that humor we're talking about. Man, you got to get that out there. People got to hear your jokes.
I know,
I'm sure
right?
you've
I don't know if
been
they can handle my
cracking up
jokes
forever.
because, like, I don't know. I feel like my style would be a lot like minus like the musical aspect. I don't know if you're familiar with Bo Burnham, but he's like one of my favorite fucking people because he's so fucking like just aware, but like he's not an asshole about it, and he like weaves everything into his humor, and so he makes things like really funny, but then he'll flip and get like really real. But he's also, like I said, he's just so aware and like so like, I don't know, I hate saying like woke, but like quote unquote woke, you know what I mean? Like, and he's just on fucking point, and like with his social commentary as well, like he's on it. Like he's one of
What's
my
his
favorite.
name?
Bo Burnham. It's like Burnham, but just Bo, B-O. But he started on YouTube like way back. Like I remember watching him on YouTube back in when I was like 14, 15 years old. And then he's got one on Netflix called What? That one's like, he's just so fucking awkward as well, which is like right up my alley. So
I bet he's an Aquarius or has like an
he's
Aquarius.
actually a
moon or
Leo.
something. He's
Yeah,
a Leo.
he's-
Oh, opposite. Yeah, which
Yeah.
reflects that Aquarian thing, you know.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
funny. So he's the
But-
natural performer.
Yo, do you guys know, Dave, I just got your message. If I change you to the host, when this, like if I have to go, you guys want to stay on, if like will I still get the recording
It'll,
when this finishes?
yeah, it'll
I will for
yeah,
sure.
it'll still go to you. It just like once I close it, it'll cut the recording off. But I think if you go to like I don't know if you know how to do it, the
No.
participant list, and I just changed my name like Trey did.
Dude,
I noticed that. I was about to say
See,
something. When
I
you
was gonna see, does anybody notice that? But you can go to hit participants like where the people are, and then you'll get the list, and then
Yeah.
I think it'll allow you to go
make host.
to escalate if you want to. I mean,
Yonella, stop attacking the
Well, it does-
cats. Damn it, Yonella. I'm trying to have a peaceful conversation over here.
Eep.
You're crazy, man. You're a crazy. Wait, so but it doesn't say make co-host. It says just make host.
oh, I think
So then you will be the
I
Take
think
supreme.
host.
you can make me host, and then I mean we can yeah, and then it should be fine. And then you can. What'll happen is you can drop off.
Oops. Oops. I made
Maybe
Bex the host.
You know, Beck can be the host too. You know, we're good.
Everyone's the host. Wait, now, now,
Submitted.
Beck has, wait. I think Beck, now you have to
Oh.
make, or now you're the only one, you're the only one that can change it for Buddha to be the
It's
host.
all good. It's just as long as like you give it to somebody else and then you drop off, Jess, then you're
Pass the torch.
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta go eat groceries for my kiddos. I loved talking to everybody. I hope y'all have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to y'all next time.
All right, bye. Love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
See,
y'all.
I'm also gonna bounce. It's 1:30 a.m. here. So
Yeah, I'm also gonna bounce. Too.
Yes.
It's like 1:30 a.m. here, so yes.
Well, that's
He's in
real
my head.
nice.
he's in my head.
Wake me up at 7 and you're going to bed.
Fucking assholes.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it. We abuse the Kiwis here.
Beat the
Standard,
Kiwi up.
standard.
Kiwi abuse.
Probably be the same if we ever had to party. I'd be the one left doing kick-ons, all by myself, aiming for the next sunrise.
Actually, Jesse stays up. I stay up pretty late.
Yeah, I party hard. I don't do it often, but I can party. I can stay up
Same.
all night.
We call it in
But I
New Zealand.
haven't-
In New Zealand, like
I
me and my
haven't-
mates, we call it bendosis. So once you go over like 24
Bendosis.
hours, you're now in like the realm of like bendosis. So like one day, if you stay awake for 24 hours, that's stage 1, bendosis. And then 2 days. No, when
Yeah.
you get to like past maybe like a day and a half, 2 days, we call that heading into the realm of creatureitis.
Oh, nice. It's fucking.
I can't.
It's fucking hard.
I can't believe you even have a sense of humor. How can you even? How could you even have a sense of humor after like 3 days of no sleep?
Bro, my friends are animals. Oh, there's like 9 Scorpios in my group, or 11.
Jeez,
Yeah.
too many.
It's a good time. I tell you
That
what,
sounds like a group I don't want to hang out with.
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, same.
I'm just teasing.
And,
High
and
risk.
we've got a Virgo mum. Like one of my mates, Tim's missus is a Virgo, so he's like mum. She like steers us all.
That poor friend.
Yeah. So yeah, like.
Reminds me of like a daycare worker.
Scorpio daycare.
Get you all on those like little
Daycare.
leashes, or you get those little like
Oh.
strollers with like 12 seats in them. And you just,
Oh, we got fucking 5 on a creatureitis right now. We got. Hey, get! I need some McDonald's quickly. They're gonna run out. We need some more speed. Get some more speed and some crack. They're about to go down. They're about to piss out.
We need more speed to slow down, mate.
oof.
All right, guys, I'm dipping out. It was a pleasure. It was awesome talking to you guys, and we'll see. I mean, do you guys want to continue?
I'm
How do-
literally
how-
down
how do
for
I
whatever.
How do I set the host thingy?
If you go to participants and then click on, I think like click on the person's name, there should be an option to make host.
Oh, okay, I see it.
And yeah, I think maybe, well, are you guys, if you guys are gonna keep going, yeah, Buddha's the host. Okay, yeah, so you guys can keep going, do your thing. Pleasure. Bye. I'm sure Trey's leaving too with my picture of me.
Thank you. Thanks, Trey.
Jesse and bye, Jesse too.
I look forward to
Right.
being invited to your podcast sometime.
You will be, man. You will be. But you're gonna have
Nope.
to do you're gonna have to do some terrible things to deserve that honor.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Bust those
You
nuts.
could just pay for it, Jesse.
Yeah. You're gonna have to do some dirty work. Some real dirty work.
Get your knees a little dirty.
Is there any other kind of work?
Yeah. Exactly. No, we'll talk. All right, guys. Pleasure. Love you guys. Talk
Love
to
you.
later.
Bye.
Have a great one, man.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Ciao.
Take care.